Chapter 316. As soon as Mu Puyu finished speaking, the meeting room fell silent again. Since ancient times, the patriarch position had always been passed down to the male and not the female. No one expected Mu Puyu to say such words in front of so many people. These words were not said casually. As the old patriarch of the Mu family, when he said these words, he would definitely pass the patriarch position to Mu Ningning. Jade lunatic, it really is jade lunatic. Sun Feiyang was the first to applaud and said loudly. Back then, he had dared to gamble with the entire fortune of the Mu family abroad and won the mining rights of a jade mountain in Burma and India for 50 years for Huaxia. If such a person was not a madman, then who was he? Today, this madman had gone crazy again. Since Mu Ningning is the next patriarch of the Mu family, we naturally can't say anything. I wonder what Miss Mu wants us to see? Lin Chongtian said with a gloomy face. He originally thought that he could smoothly deal with the Mu family and the Sun family, but he didn't expect things to turn out like this. Mu Ningning walked from the back to the front and her gaze fell on the members of the Jade Association. Some of the members couldn't help but lower their heads. They just realized that Miss Mu's aura was much stronger than Mu Qinglong's and not much weaker than Mu Puyu's. Guopai and Guotongyuan sat at the back and watched everything in front of them with a smile. Interesting, indeed interesting. Mu Ningning turned on the projector in the meeting room and then inserted the USB flash drive with a smile. Everyone below the stage focused their attention on the big screen. Let's talk about the raw gemstone from yesterday. Big Boss Xingbin, you were the one who bought the raw gemstone, right? You cut it open, but there was nothing inside. In the end, Scoundrel Guo managed to find 2 pieces of first-class jade, one black and one white. Am I right? Mu Ningning asked loudly. Everyone was there that day. Indeed, old Zheng's eyes were not sharp enough. Old Zheng admitted defeat. I wonder why Miss Mu brought this up again? If Director Sun didn't give that kid advice, I don't believe he would dare to bet on scrap, Xingbin said loudly. Scrap? I remember that Boss Zheng's price for scrap wasn't low either. Mu Ningning narrowed her eyes and said, Then I would like to ask Boss Zheng, where did your Zheng family's convoy take this stone from the Jade Pit a month ago? Boss Zheng, you're doing a good job with your own production and marketing. When Mu Ningning released the second photo, everyone immediately understood what was going on. The stone that Xingbin had bought yesterday was his own. In other words, he had been trying to outbid Guo Xiao in the beginning. It was all part of his scheme, but Guo Xiao did not fall for it. I sold this stone to Lu Mengxian. I regretted it later, so I sold it at a high price, Xingbin said nervously. However, the entire meeting room was filled with lust. Something like this had happened in Jade City before, but that person had been locked up in prison for economic crimes and had yet to be released. Chief Zhao, is this kind of economic swindler under your jurisdiction? Mu Ningning narrowed her eyes and looked at Chief Zhao below the stage. Everyone was starting to get nervous. After so many years of doing business, who didn't have some tricks up their sleeves? Take a look at the rest yourselves. I won't say much. The Jade Association has its own rules. These breakthroughs were captured by the Jade Pit's surveillance camera. Take a look at what our members are doing. After Mu Ningning finished speaking, the photos on the screen began to appear in front of everyone one by one. Good, very good. The members of the association get a ton of stones each time. Your cart of stones should be at least 40 tons. That explosive photo just now should have been taken using lust, right? Very good. Sun Feiyang was so angry that he laughed instead. He looked at the members who had lowered their heads and said loudly, Aren't you here to force us to abdicate? You can't do anything with your heads down. You can check the Jade Pit surveillance camera and see the situation of Grandpa Sun's house, our house, and the 5 directors' houses that you said are related to our 2 families. Have we ever taken an extra stone? Mu Ningning said loudly. Severe punishment must be meted out. On behalf of the Jade Association, I thank Ningning for exposing so many dark secrets for us. Our board of directors will thoroughly investigate this matter, Lin Chongyun said loudly. After the photos were shown, his heart calmed down. There was no sign of the Lin family in the photos. At least the Lin family wouldn't be implicated in this matter. Grandpa Lin, this is nothing. There are even better things after this, Mu Ningning said with a smile. I don't know how to explain this agreement to Grandpa Lin, Grandpa Zhao, and Grandpa Chu. The members who had lowered their heads all looked at the agreement on the screen. However, when they saw the last three signatures, Lin Chongtian, Zhao Kaishan, and Chu Yujun almost fainted. Kaishan, wasn't this agreement destroyed? Where did the Mu girl come from? There were 4 agreements that day. 3 of ours were destroyed. The Ruan family's agreement was already in Myanmar. How did the Mu girl have another one? Lin Chongtian asked nervously. How would I know? You saw me destroy the agreement. Did something happen on old Chu's side? Zhao Kaishan couldn't help but look at Chu Yujun. Mine was destroyed too. Let's not think about how the agreement ended up in the Mu girl's hands. Let's think about what we should do next, Chu Yujun said quietly. Our members only picked a few extra oars. What do you think of the 3 grandfathers' actions? I believe there's a suitable word for it, betrayal. You're blatantly betraying your country, Mu Ningning declared loudly. The content of the agreement on the screen was very simple. The 3 companies agreed to directly transport the raw stones mined by them to Myanmar through a special method to support the opening of Myanmar's Jade Trade Fair. The fair would last for a year, and Myanmar would pay the 3 companies the full amount of money according to the auction price of the raw stones. Not to mention the price of raw stones might be higher than in China, just the 10% handling fee and jade tax alone was a huge sum. Grandpa Lin, can any of you explain this to us? If you can't explain it clearly, I don't think the 3 of you will have a good life in your later years, Mu Ningning said loudly. Miss Mu, this time I came here under Lin Chongtian's orders. I am guilty. I hope the Jade Association can give me another chance. Lin Chongtian didn't say anything, but one of the members shouted. Lin Chongtian's face darkened even more. Miss, we only did this because they threatened us. If we didn't force them to abdicate, the Lin family would have joined forces with the other directors to remove us from the Jade Association. This is the recording of Lin Chongtian's call to me. Then, another member spoke loudly with a recording pen in his hand. The winner takes all. I admit defeat. The new generation is better than the old one. I didn't think I could do anything to old Mu back then, but this time I am completely convinced. Lin Chongtian suddenly seemed to have aged a few years. He murmured, Mu girl, where did you get that agreement? General Ruan first asked you to cooperate, then asked me. As a show of sincerity, he gave me a copy of the agreement. However, I didn't agree to cooperate with him. I can't believe you guys would do something like this when you are old, Mu Ningning said with a hint of disdain. The 3 old men slowly sat down in their seat. The farce was over. Chapter 317. The Jade Association's meeting lasted until 4 in the afternoon, and no one left at noon. In the end, everything was settled. Guopao, who hadn't left during the meeting, couldn't help but clap his hands in admiration at the way Mu Ningning had handled the matter. He didn't expect the little girl to be so capable. She had handled the matter flawlessly. The directors of the Lin, Zhao, and Chu families were removed from their positions as directors, but they still retained their status as members of the Jade Association. The other members who were involved in illegal activities were divided into 3 categories. Those who committed serious crimes were immediately removed from the Jade Association. The directors of the association would discuss and decide who to replace them. To put it bluntly, Mu Ningning only needed to say the word. Those who didn't commit serious crimes would retain their status as members, but they would have to pay a large fine. The fine would be used to build up Taiyuan City. The officials applauded and applauded. Those who didn't commit serious crimes would retain their status as members, but they would have to record a demerit once. Mu Puyu nodded in satisfaction. The matter was finally settled. Bad little brother, I've settled the matter of you entering Jade Mountain, but there's one thing I have to go with you. I'm not worried about you taking anything, but I'm worried that something might happen to you and Tong Yuan. If that happens, we won't be able to explain it to the capital. Mu Ningning smiled at Guopai on the way home. The people of the Jade Mountain Association knew what kind of person Guopai was. Under the insistence of the Mu and Sun families, they directly gave Guopai a membership in the Jade Association. Guopai couldn't help but laugh. Big Sister Mu, it seems like you want to know my trump card. My trump card isn't that easy to see. If you find out, then you'll have to marry me. Otherwise, I'll suffer a great loss. Guopai teased. Mu Ningning's face turned red. Sun Feiyang and Mu Puyu urged Mu Ningning to agree. Mu Ningning couldn't help but sigh. Was this big bad guy really that good? The Jade Association would be reorganizing for 3 months. During these 3 months, no one was allowed to enter the Jade Pit on Mount Taiyun. Of course, Guopai, who had already been issued a pass, was an exception. This was because he was accompanied by the president of the Jade Association, Mu Ningning. They had already arrived at the entrance of the Jade Pit. Naughty brother, this is the entrance to Mount Cloud. There are a total of 8 Jade Pits on the mountain, and each of the 4 paths leads to 2 Jade Pits. I wonder which one you're planning to enter from. We only have 3 days. It doesn't matter what you're looking for in 3 days, we'll still have to leave if you don't find what you're looking for, Mu Ningning said softly. She could not help but blush as she spoke. The night before they left, Mu Puyu called Mu Ningning into the house and told his granddaughter about the 9 gates of Huaxia. Guopai is the successor of the 9 gates of Huaxia. His seniority is extremely high, and he's the disciple of the head of the 9 gates of medicine. Your grandpa's son and I are already taking advantage of him by calling him bad guy. You won't be wronged if you marry him as a concubine. This kid is destined to have a lot of wives and concubines in the future. If you go first, you'll at least be able to secure a position at the front. Mu Puyu's words caused Mu Ningning's face to turn red. However, it seemed like there really wasn't anyone in Taiyu City that could catch Miss Mu's attention. She decided to go to the Jade Pit this time to see what kind of surprise this boy, who she had a good impression of, would bring her. Guopai looked at the 4 paths leading up the mountain. A compass had appeared in his hand out of nowhere. He stood at each path and observed it for a while. He then sensed little fire in the gourd getting excited again. He no longer treated Mu Ningning as an outsider and directly let it out. Ah, what's this? Why is it so cute? Mu Ningning exclaimed when she saw little fire. The little guy immediately jumped onto Mu Ningning's body and rubbed himself against Mu Ningning's chest. Guopao quickly grabbed him and pulled him down from the ground. Little guy, how dare you take advantage of my woman? Tell me what you've discovered. Otherwise, I'm not going to care about your bloodline awakening anymore. Guopai yelled at Little Fire. The little guy obediently observed the 4 paths with a hint of grievance. Mu Ningning's face turned red from embarrassment once again. Around half an hour later, Little Fire and Guopai looked at the 3rd path at the same time. Guopai nodded in satisfaction and shoved a pill into Little Fire's mouth. He did not care if the little guy could resist the effects of the pill. The 3 humans and 1 beast continued up the mountain. Sister Mu, your way of mining isn't right. You're going to destroy Mount Yunshan if you keep mining like this. How vulgar, Guopai said as he walked up the mountain. He could not help but comment when he saw the craters on the mountain. Naughty brother, the whole world is mining like this. Is there a better way? Mu Ningning pouted. Guopai was right, especially in the past 10 years. They had been using more and more tools to open up the rocks. Mount Yunshan was no longer the same as it used to be. Rumble. The 3 of them walked for around 2 hours. They could vaguely see a huge jade pit from the waist of the mountain. However, a few rumbling noises stopped them in their tracks. Someone is stealing the ores. This won't do, I have to call grandfather and ask for backup, Mu Ningning said with a frown. Mu Ningning said with a frown. Someone dared to blow up the mountain when she had not even started a fire yet, even though she had just taken office. Sister Mu, it'll take at least 3 hours to get here from Mount Yunshan City. I'm afraid the thief would have already run away by the time they arrive. Don't bother the old man anymore. Junior brother and I will go and take a look. It's just a few thieves, we'll take care of them soon, Guopai said with a smile. Mu Ningning shook her head. There used to be thieves on Mount Yunshan too. They came up from the back of the mountain. Most of them were outlaws with heavy weapons in their hand. Many of the soldiers at the border of Mount Yunshan City had died trying to take down the thieves. Guopai and Guotongyuan were most likely going to suffer a great loss if they went up against them. I'll go with you. Let's see who it is. Don't get into a conflict with them. Let the soldiers at the border block their way out. They won't be able to transport the ores out even if they stole them, Mu Ningning said softly. She did not care if Guopai agreed or not. She went straight to the jade pit. Guopai shook his head. He and Guotongyuan were confident that they could take care of the thieves. If they brought Miss Mu with them, Guopai would have to spare some energy to take care of her. Goda, the rocks have been blown up. Hurry up and get them into the car. We'll leave the mountain after 3 more cars. Mu Ningning, that little girl, I'll teach her a lesson sooner or later. She pretends to be decent in front of others, but who knows how much of a slut she is in front of that little bastard. The person who spoke was none other than Jing Bin, one of the 3 members of the Jade Association who had been expelled. Boss Jing, if you can catch that Miss Mu, you'll have to give us a good time too. She's the prettiest girl in Taiyuan City, a middle-aged man with a wretched look said with squinted eyes. Hurry up and get to work. After we're done, I'll take you to Yangzhou. You'll definitely have a good time, Jing Bin said loudly. However, none of them went to the jade pit to move the rocks. Goda, why aren't your men there yet? We've caused quite a commotion. Even though there's no one on the Jade Mountain right now, someone might have heard us. Hurry up. Big brother, 17 of the 18 bombs went off. There's a muffled one. It's too dangerous to go in now, a short man said as he ran to Goda's side. Boss Jing, the thunder isn't going well today. We can't go into the mountain. I think we should wait until another day to move the rocks, Goda said as he looked at his brothers. Goda looked at the group of brothers beside him and couldn't help but say. These people had their own rules. If there was a dud, they wouldn't check which one was dud. They would wait for a day before checking. They wouldn't enter the mountain on that day. Chapter 3:18. Goda, are you kidding me? We have to take the stones away today, and I'll double your pay. As long as we take you Yunshan with us, you don't have to worry about the rest. If you're afraid that the stones will explode, you can spend some time looking for them. The stones have already exploded, and we can't leave now, Jing Bin said loudly. Goda called his brothers to the side. They discussed for a while, and Goda walked to Jing Bin's side again. Boss Jing, we'll triple our pay. After we finish this job, we'll each get 60,000. If it works, we'll start loading the stones. If it doesn't work, we'll just turn around and leave. We've done all this work for nothing. Goda, do you think I'm a fool? Triple your pay? Why don't you go rob a bank? Jing Bin said with a dark expression. Boss Jing, jade is so popular now. Our price isn't high. Also, Boss Jing, you're going to the back of the mountain. I don't think you're a member of the Jade Association anymore, Goda said with squinted eyes. So be it. Hurry up and load the stones. I'll give you the money when we get down the mountain, Jing Bin said through gritted teeth. Jing Bin gritted his teeth and said. Goda laughed and waved to his brothers behind him, and the group of people started to work. Mu Ningning and the others walked for about an hour. They could vaguely see the person behind a huge rock. Jing Bin, it's Jing Bin. How dare he sneak into the Jade Mountain and steal the origin stones? He can forget about staying in the jade industry from now on. I'm going to make sure he stays in jail for the rest of his life, Mu Ningning said viciously. She did not like Jing Bin at all. Including Jing Bin, there are 8 of them. That guy has a gun, and there are a few shotguns over there. They'll probably leave after they finish loading the stones. Let's just wait for a while. There's no need to get into a fight with them, Guo Pai said with a smile. If Mu Ningning was not here, things would not be handled this way. Ring, ring, ring. Guo Pai had just finished speaking when Mu Ningning's phone rang. Guo Pai frowned. This woman used to be perfect at such a crucial moment. What was wrong with her now? Damn it, they found us. Guo Pai saw Jing Bin glance in their direction. Goda then walked over with a gun in his hand. Bad brother, you guys hide well. I'll go out. Before Guo Pai could say anything, Mu Ningning had already stood up. Guo Pai wanted to pull her back, but it was already too late. He had no choice but to stand up himself. The enemy had a gun, and Guo Pai did not want anything to happen to Mu Ningning. I was wondering who it was. So it's Miss Mu. I wonder why Miss Mu has come to Jade Mountain. Don't tell me you're having a date with your little lover at Jade Stone, Jing Bin said with squinted eyes. He never thought that he would run into Mu Ningning while stealing the ores. Jing Bin, why did I come to Jade Mountain? Shouldn't I be the one asking you the same question? You're no longer a member of the Jade Association, and the Jade Association has been sealed off for the past 3 months. I don't think it's necessary for you to come to Jade Mountain in such a grand manner, Mu Ningning said loudly. Goda, the B*TCH you were talking about is right in front of us. Now that she's caught us, we definitely won't be able to run away. Even if we do run away, I don't think there's anywhere we can stay in Huaxia. Kill that brat with a single shot, and this B*TCH will be yours and yours, Jing Bin said loudly. Goda held the gun tightly in his hand. After thinking for about a minute, he slowly raised the gun. Shoot! Shoot! Jing Bin then shouted. He knew that if he did not kill the 3 of them this time, his life would be over. Bang! Goda did not think that he would actually shoot. At such a close distance, Guo Pai was dead for sure. Since he had already killed him, it was not a big crime to steal a woman to have some fun. Goda thought as he pounced towards Mu Ningning. Goda has killed someone. What are you guys waiting for? Catch that brat. If you can't catch him, just kill him. Jing Bin then shouted to the brothers behind Goda. Guo Tongyuan had a blade of grass in his mouth, as he watched the crowd like he was watching a movie. Motherf***, what an unlucky year. As soon as Jing Bin finished speaking, Guo Pai had already appeared beside him. A dagger was placed on Jing Bin's neck. No one saw what happened clearly. Goda's eyes widened. Didn't he kill this young man with 1 shot? How was he still alive? What are you guys waiting for? Take the gun. Goda suddenly came back to his senses. Just now, Jing Bin had ordered him to kill someone step by step. Fortunately, he did not die. If he died, Jing Bin might be fine, but Goda was afraid that he would not even have the chance to sit in prison for a long time. Boss Jing, you saw it too. You are so close to this brat. This gun does not have eyes. We don't want the salary this time. If you accidentally hurt Boss Jing, you will become an evil spirit in hell. Don't blame us brothers. As he spoke, Goda's gun went off again. Not only did Jing Bin not expect this, but Guo Pai also did not expect this. Goda changed his attitude faster than flipping a book. This shot was not aimed at him at all. It went straight for Jing Bin and hit Jing Bin's shoulder. A bunch of fugitives. Killing you guys can be considered as upholding justice for the heavens. As Guo Pai spoke, a flying sword flew around him directly towards Goda. Then, the 7 people behind Goda fell to the ground together. At this moment, Jing Bin's eyes widened. Mu Ningning was also shocked by the scene in front of her. Is this the method of the 9 gates of Huaxia? Mu Ningning murmured. No wonder Guo Pai said that he and Guo Tongyuan could handle it from the beginning. So this was how it was done. Guopai's side was done. Guotong Yuan directly jumped down from the big rock and pulled the 7 corpses together. Mu Ningning's eyes widened again. How old was Guotong Yuan? Not to mention that he was not afraid of pulling the corpses. These guys were not light. Guotong Yuan held each of them in one hand and placed them together in a short while. Senior brother, I'll leave the job of destroying the corpses to you, Guotong Yuan said with a smile. Guopai nodded lightly. Jingbin had been shot quite badly. Now, he was sitting on the ground in a daze. He was already scared stiff by the scene in front of him. A small flame appeared on Guopai's fingertip. Then, the flame landed on the 7 corpses. In just a short while, the 7 corpses were completely burned. Not even ashes were left behind. Big Sister Mu, what are you thinking about? These are all fugitives. Every one of them has a death warrant. If they die, then so be it. I didn't kill Jingbin. When the time comes, I'll just hand him over to the police. There's not much time left. You stay here. Tong Yuan will accompany you. I'll go into the jade pit to take a look. After saying that, Guopai directly walked into the jade pit. Mu Ningning was still in a state of shock. Guotong Yuan, on the other hand, picked up a pile of rocks from outside the jade pit. In his hand, a Vajra pestle appeared, and he began to grind it. Why do I feel uneasy? I only killed a few fugitives. There's no retribution. Guopai walked into the jade pit. He had a bad feeling about him. He could not help but frown. Once I find Yusin, I'll return to the imperial capital. Lin Shuang is still waiting to go through the wedding ceremony with me. Guotong Yuan grinded the rock. Mu Ningning stared blankly at Guopai in the jade pit. However, they did not expect that Jingbin, who had been shot, would disappear right in front of their eyes. Chapter 319. Since Jingbin and his men had just blasted the jade core with a bomb, Guopai had no choice but to look for the jade core again. He didn't want to waste half a day and end up with a pile of level 1 jade. That would be meaningless to him. However, while Guopai was looking for the jade core, someone in the imperial capital was also feeling uneasy. The big bad guy only went to Mount Tai Yunshan to look for some jade cores. He shouldn't be in any danger. Why am I feeling uneasy? I can't divine anything. What's going on? Yue muttered to herself. She walked into the room and tried to sense the heavenly Tao again, hoping to divine something. Guopai didn't dare to let go of any clues. Using his experience of staying on Mount Yu for 100 years before he ascended, he began to look for the jade core. After about an hour, a strange pattern made Guopai smile. It was here. 30 meters from here, there should be a jade core. Guopai took out a flying sword. He didn't care that Mu Ningning was looking at him from afar. He directly used the flying sword to create a 1-meter-wide cave in the Jade Mountain. Although Mu Ningning couldn't see how Guopai created such a cave, she was completely stunned by the scene in front of her. The cave extended for 7 or 8 meters. Guopai slowly crawled in. The jade core had a spirit. He didn't want any trouble to happen after he found it. However, the deeper he went, the more uneasy Guopai felt. Forget it. I'll go back after I get the jade core. I can already feel the jade core's fluctuation. Guopai thought to himself. The flying sword sped up again. After 15 meters, there were no more rocks outside. Starting from level 9 jade, every meter inside would increase by 1 level. It was almost at the level 4 jade level. Guopai could already see the jade core emitting a 7-colored glow. It seemed to weigh about 40 to 50 kilograms. This jade core was enough for him to use for a few days. Since it was already a level 4 jade, Guopai didn't want to waste it. He used the flying sword to cut off the jade core and threw it into the gourd. The moment it entered the level 2 jade level, a cold air appeared at the back of Guopai's head. There was definitely a problem. Guopai turned his head and saw a sinister face. Kid, my life is over. I know I'm no match for you. You're not a human, you're a demon. Die. Jingbin. Jing Bin saw Guopai killing all 7 of his men with a single flying sword. He knew that even if Guopai didn't kill him, he would die sooner or later. Therefore, he dragged his half-limp arm and found the bomb that didn't explode. He then connected it to the bomb. Boom, 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 boom. Guopai came out of the cave. The bomb exploded, sealing the entrance of the cave. Jingbin couldn't be more dead, and Guopai's fate was unknown. No, Guopai, be careful. As soon as Jingbin appeared at the entrance of the cave, Mu Ningning immediately saw the thing in his hand. However, everything happened in the blink of an eye. Despite Mu Ningning's yelling, the cave was already filled with smoke. Guopai, who was focused on grinding the rock, was also awakened by the explosion and Mu Ningning's cry for help. He immediately stood up and ran towards the cave that Guopai had just made. "Senior brother, you can't die. What am I going to do if you die? How am I going to explain this to Sister Yor? You can't die. How can you die? You're an immortal." Guotong Yuan mumbled to himself as he scratched the rock with his hand. His heart was shrouded by an ominous feeling. For the first time, he realized that he couldn't sense Guopai's presence anymore. At the moment of the explosion, the ancient jades carried by the girls of Wu Castle cracked at the same time. Sun Lingling even fainted when the ancient jade cracked. Guopai's grandparents also cracked at the same time. For a moment, Wu Castle and the imperial capital were in chaos. Where did Guopai go? Can you contact him? Guotong Yuan called Bugyaku in the imperial capital and went straight to Yor. Yor wasn't feeling well either. When she was sensing the heavenly Tao, she was hit by a terrifying backlash. Now the aura in her body was in chaos. If she didn't receive treatment in time, she wouldn't be able to be healed even if Guopai came back. "Grandpa, don't worry. Big Brother Bad Guy went to Taiyun City. He might have encountered some danger, but I can feel that he's not dead," Yor said and hung up the phone. Only then did she stop the blood essence in her body from leaking out. However, because Guopai wasn't dead, the old man was even more worried. He didn't look for anyone else and directly called the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In less than 3 minutes, the 8 leaders of the Tyrannosaurus Rex had gathered at the Dragon King's residence. "Go to Taiyun Mountain and find Guopai. Kill whoever dares to stop you," Xiao Wudi shouted. From Guotong Yuan's words, he only knew that something had happened to Guopai. In his opinion, it should be some forces other than Hua Xia that were looking for trouble with Guopai. He could only send people out first and take one step at a time. They were so concerned that even Yu was confused. They had all overlooked one point, which was Guopau's strength. Don't forget who Guopao was. He was the mind-reading true lord. How could he be killed so easily? However, Guopai's situation wasn't good. Although he wasn't dead, he was seriously injured. If it was mind-reading sage, let alone a bomb, he wouldn't even be afraid of a nuclear warhead. However, the current Guopai was just a banished immortal. F***ck, I've already shattered his brain at the first moment. To think that he could still detonate a bomb. I've failed miserably. Guopao's entire body was curled up inside a piece of level 2 precious jade. There wasn't a single part of his body that wasn't damaged. Even his soul had left his body, as Guopao's body had already been destroyed beyond recognition. "Fairy, mind-reading sage's tribulation has arrived. Fairy, don't you want to help him cross the tribulation?" In the heavenly court, Chang'e had left the Moon Palace and was playing chess with Hongjun Ancestor in his dojo. "Old man, I don't like what you said. His tribulation has arrived. What does it have to do with me? Old man, I see that you are restless today. Is this mind-reading sage your illegitimate son?" Chang'e smiled and directly slaughtered one of Hongjun Ancestor's dragons. "Fairy must be joking. Fairy has won this game." Hongjun Ancestor glanced at the chessboard and said with a smile. Chang'e stood up and took away a jade box from Hongjun Ancestor's table. She then turned and flew towards the Moon Palace. Cause and effect, Cause and effect. After Hongjun ancestor finished speaking, a red light came out of his hand and flew directly to the mortal world. The old man leisurely returned to his room. Old man, he is not mine. Why should I care about him? I have done my best to let you go to the mortal world. Chang Yi saw the red light and couldn't help but say, this time, I can defeat the old man and win a box of good tea. I've made a profit. Guopai's soul was in the jade cave. He thought of countless ways, but there was really no good way to let him return to his body. As time went by, Guopai was a little scared. Reconstruct a body? If I had known this earlier, I would have used the great Magus's blood essence in the gourd of Lord Laojun to create a body. Then I would not be in such a difficult situation now. I hope you can find out that something has happened to me. Otherwise, I will really be in trouble this time. Guopao could not stop himself from blurting out. He had 3 days. If he could not find a physical body within 3 days, the ghost soldiers would descend upon him. Including the vengeful spirit that saved Xiao Yun previously, he would have a hard time escaping this calamity. Chapter 320. 10 hours later, Taiyun City was in chaos. The first to arrive at Taiyun City was not the people from the T-Rex group, but Guopai's second brother, Jia Yuan. When Guopai was in trouble, Jia Yuan was signing an investment agreement in Huayang City, which was near Taiyun City. However, before the agreement was signed, he heard that Guopai was in trouble and rushed to Taiyun City. Sir, you are suspected of speeding, destroying a highway frame, and other illegal activities. You need to come back with us to assist in the investigation. A beautiful traffic police officer chased Jia Yuan all the way from Huayang City to Taiyun City and said unrelentingly, I'll accept the fine. If you want me to go to jail, I'll accept it, but not now. Let me tell you, stop bothering me. My brother is in trouble now. You can do whatever you want after you settle my brother's matter, Jia Yuan shouted. There's money in this card. You can pay however much you want. I don't have time to deal with it now. Or you can call Hua Xia's company and tell them that Jia Yuan is in trouble. Let them deal with it as they see fit. After saying that, Jia Yuan went directly to the Taiyun City Municipal Committee building. Mu Ningning immediately called Mu Puyu when she heard that Guopai was in trouble. Mu Puyu called Sun Feiyang over. The two of them did not dare to inform anyone else and rushed to Taiyun Mountain immediately. The scene in front of them gave them a fright. There were broken stones everywhere, and some low-quality jade was scattered to the side. Guotong Yuan's eyes were red as he dug at the stones one by one. Rumble! The hole that had just been dug open was suddenly blocked by falling stones from above. If Sun Feiyang had not pulled him back in time, Guotong Yuan would have been smashed to the bottom. Tong Yuan, there's no way to dig it open like this. Go and rest first. Old Mu and I will think of a way. Sun Feiyang said softly. Guotong Yuan, who was already anxious, broke out in a cold sweat when he saw the falling stones. He seemed to have come back to his senses. My senior brother won't die. Old master, think of a way. Mu Ningning pulled Guopai to the side. His fingers were badly mangled. Mu Ningning clenched her teeth as she bandaged his fingers. Sun Feiyang and Mu Puyu circled around the jade cave that Guopai was trapped in before they came out again. I'll have to dig a new jade cave from the side. That's the only way. It'll take about 1 to 2 days. Sun Feiyang said softly, Bad Master is the successor of Hua Xia's 9 doors of medicine. He won't die just like that. The matter still did not alarm anyone. Jia Yuan spent the whole morning in the courtyard of the Municipal Party Committee without any result. Knowing that the 8 members of the Tyrannosaurus group had arrived, they all went to Taiyun Mountain together. A gloomy atmosphere enveloped the entire sky of Taiyun City. The people of the Municipal Party Committee had probably guessed what had happened. They knew that if something happened to that young man called Guopai in Taiyun City, they would be in big trouble. How long will it take to dig through the 2 caves? Xing Tian looked at Sun Feiyang and asked. Xing Tian was somewhat displeased with this old man who was in the fasting period. No matter what, Guopai had met with mishap at their place. Team leader Xing, according to Ningning, Guopai has already gone more than 10 meters into the cave. According to our speed, we should be able to dig through the cave in the morning the day after tomorrow. Sun Feiyang said helplessly. He did not expect such a thing to happen. Brother Guopai only used an hour to dig more than 10 meters. Why would it take so many of us a day to dig through? Did Guopai use some advanced tools at that time? Xing Tian could not help but ask. Bad Brother had a long sword in his hand. Later on, he didn't seem to be holding it. The long sword drilled into the rock by itself. Mu Ningning said softly. Xing Tian did not ask any more questions. He knew a little about Guopai's methods. Brother Xing, you were called. She said that Guopai is not dead. She asked us not to continue looking for him and to just wait outside. When Jia Yuan received a call from you, his eyes widened. However, based on his understanding of you, this matter was reliable. I will contact the Northwest Military Region in a while and seal off the entire Taiyun Mountain. Taiyun City will also be completely sealed off. Entry and exit are only allowed. After Xing Tian finished speaking, he directly called Xia Wudi. In about 3 hours, Taiyun City was completely sealed off. The atmosphere outside was tense. However, Guopai's ghost soldiers had already detected his aura the next day. While he was bargaining with 8 ghost soldiers, a red light fell on Guopai's body. His already tattered body began to recover little by little. Guopai's soul made a face at the 8 ghost soldiers and directly entered his body. When the soul returned to the body, the 8 ghost soldiers helplessly returned to the underworld to report. The aura of Hong Jun ancestor. How is it possible? He is not a nosy person. Could it be that he knows that I have already broken the seal? Just as the red light fell, under an inconspicuous abandoned building in Qiantang City, a middle-aged man suddenly opened his eyes and said, "Comfortable? Could it be that you begged Fairy to save me? It should be like this. Qingyuan thanks Fairy for saving my life." With that, Guopai directly knelt down in the cave and kowtowed 3 times. Presumptuous laughter came from the Moon Palace again. Wu Gang, carrying a big axe, glanced at Chang Yi, who was 10,000 meters away. His boss was laughing disheveled. What was so funny? Wu Gang thought and couldn't help but take another look. As a result, he was hit by a powerful force again. Peeping. Did you learn this bad habit from that big bad guy? With that, Chang Yi couldn't help laughing again. She was so happy because she took advantage of Hong Jun ancestor. At the moment when Guopai's soul and the body were perfectly integrated again, Yu who had been frowning, laughed. Big bad guy, it's all right. However, the people outside the jade pit were still working hard to dig the hole inside. Master Mu, we hit the top of the jade layer. It's level 9 jade, but it's evenly distributed. It's very likely that there will be high-level jade inside. Several groups of people entered the jade pit in turns. A middle-aged man, who was working in the jade pit, came out and said, "Shall we slow down? Full speed ahead. Don't slow down." Although Guopai is different from ordinary people, he has been inside for a day and a night. There will be more jade in the future. Guopai can't have an accident. Mu Puyu said loudly. The middle-aged man nodded and went in again. But 3 hours later, the man came out again. "Master Mu, the jade has reached level 4, and its color is very high. We don't know how much jade there is inside, but I guess it's at least 1 billion yuan. The middle-aged man said excitedly. "Full speed ahead. I'll pay 200 million yuan. Let alone level 4 jade, even if there is level 1 jade in front of us. Hurry up and make a hole for me," Jia Yuan said loudly. The middle-aged man looked at Jia Yuan's ferocious face and nodded gently. After Guopai's soul and body were integrated, his eyes fell on the colorful jade core again. Damn it, I almost lost my life. I have to take this thing. With that, Guopai took out his flying sword. After a while, the colorful jade core was cut out. After taking the jade, Guopai's eyes fell on a bead under the colorful jade. It was a crystal clear bead the size of a bird's egg, but there was no energy fluctuation. Chapter 321. Guopai separated a trace of his divine sense and landed on the bead. However, the bead still didn't have any reaction. Guopai frowned. He knew that curiosity killed the cat, but this thing appeared here. Wasn't it waiting for him? Motherf *Ker, one who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune in the future. Since we have met, it must be fate. Even the heavens don't want me to die. I don't believe I will die because of this little bead. As he spoke, Guopao reached out and grabbed the bead. The moment the bead entered his hand, it emitted a 7-colored light. Then, Guopai and the bead disappeared from the jade cave. Little you, welcome to Limitless Palace. Wonderful, wonderful. I didn't expect that after tens of thousands of years, the matter back then still hasn't been resolved. Before Guopai could react to what happened, an old voice entered his ears. Limitless Palace. Never heard of it. Curiosity killed the cat. It seems that my luck this time isn't very good. Guopai looked at the surrounding environment. He was no longer in the jade cave. The unfamiliar environment made Guopai's heart tremble. Mind-reading sage, such a small scene has frightened you to this extent? Speaking of which, you were much bolder when you peeped at the ferry a few days ago. The old man's voice sounded again. Guopai's face was filled with black lines. This time, the other party even knew about his background. I don't know which senior you are. This kid has been banished to the lower realm. If there is nothing else, please release this kid. There are many people outside looking for this kid. Guopai said with a smile. As soon as Guopai's voice fell, a virtual image appeared in front of him. The old man looked very amiable. However, Guopai could naturally see that this virtual image was just a trace of a remnant soul. However, just this trace of a remnant soul was enough to make Guopai feel as if he was facing a great enemy. Not to mention himself, even if mind-reading sage wasn't banished to the lower realm, he wouldn't be a match for this remnant soul. How strong was this old man when he was alive? True sovereign, relax. This old man is just a remnant soul. What are you afraid of? It's fate that brought us together. What do you think of my limitless palace? As the old man spoke, he waved his hand. A table and 2 rattan chairs appeared in front of them. The old man sat down on one of the rattan chairs. Senior, could it be that the bead that I accidentally obtained is your dojo? Guopai thought for a moment. The bead seemed to be the reason why he was able to come here. You can say that. Back then, this old man spent quite a bit of effort to put this limitless palace into the limitless bead. The old man said with a trace of pride. Do you like it? If you like it, you can have the limitless palace. Cough, cough, cough. Senior must be joking. Senior must have spent quite a bit of effort on this limitless palace. Junior doesn't dare to accept it. If Senior doesn't have anything else, please let me out. Guopai said softly. There's nothing that this old man can't give away when he wants to. The old man stood up abruptly. True sovereign, this is the cycle of karma and retribution. This old man, limitless, is merely a rogue immortal outside of the heavenly court. I'll give this limitless palace to you. If the heavenly court were to fall into chaos in the future, I'll have to trouble little you to protect the disciples of my limitless sect. After saying that, the old man disappeared. Guopai reappeared in the jade cave. He was still holding the bead in his hand. At this moment, the other side of the jade cave opened up. A middle-aged man appeared in front of Guopai. Master Mu, there's someone inside. I wonder if it's a bad master. The middle-aged man shouted towards the entrance of the cave. However, he was stopped by Guopai. Big brother, there's no need to shout. I'm Guopai. Let's talk outside. Guopai originally wanted to put the bead into the gourd. However, no matter how hard he tried, the bead couldn't fit in. In the end, it turned into a mark and appeared on Guopai's hand. Damn it, I somehow got myself a training ground. I wonder how I'm going to enter again. Whatever, I'll just muddle through this 100 years of my life first. Guopai looked at the bead mark on his hand and couldn't help but think to himself. Guopai, why you scared me to death. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I didn't keep an eye on Jingbin. As soon as Guopai walked out of the jade cave, Mu Ningning immediately threw herself onto Guopai's body and started crying. For 3 days, Mu Ningning rejected everyone's advice and didn't leave the jade cave. She didn't even eat or rest for the past 3 days. Alright, I'm fine now. Take this pill. Your condition right now isn't as good as mine, Guopai said as he took out a pill and stuffed it into Mu Ningning's mouth. At that moment, Mu Ningning realized that their actions were a little too intimate. Her face immediately turned red. It wasn't clear if it was because of the pill or because she was embarrassed. Everyone let out a sigh of relief when they saw that Guopai was fine. Guotong Yuan squatted on the ground. If something really happened to Guopai this time, he would be the one at fault. Luckily, this cheap senior brother of his was lucky. Of course, he didn't know that Guopai had profited from his misfortune and ended up in the Limitless Palace. The members of the Tyrannosaurus group watched as Mu Ningning hugged Guopai. They secretly praised him in their hearts. This little brother of theirs was pretty good. Everywhere he went, he would be able to hug a beauty. Of course, Xia Fian didn't think so. Right now, she only wanted to see if this big bad guy was fine. After all, she knew the power of the explosion. As long as you're fine, as long as you're fine. Bad master, I'll get someone to prepare something to eat. You've suffered for the past 3 days. Eat something to fill your stomach first. Sun Feiyang said with a smile. The few of them had been busy for the past few days. The outside world had long been a mess. However, it was better to fill his stomach first. Guopai nodded lightly. He then dialed Guo Shoyo's number. Xing Tian told himself that the old man was very worried. He should let the old man know that he was fine first. As long as you're fine. Come home after coming back from Taiyuan. Your grandmother has been talking about you. Guopai could tell from the phone that the old man hadn't been resting well recently. He hurriedly promised that he would go to Wu Castle to see the 2 elders after returning to the capital. Only then did he give up. You Er's wife, tell Weiwei and the others that I'm fine. I'll be back in 3 days. Guopai then dialed Yu Er's number. Perhaps out of everyone, Yu Er was the least worried. As long as she could sense Guopai's presence, nothing would happen to him. Got it. Come back soon. Sister Lin Shuang is here. It's time to prepare for your wedding, Yu Er said with a smile. How could anything happen to this big bad guy? Good people didn't live long, but bad people lived for thousands of years. Now that Guopai was fine, the atmosphere in Taiyuan City also eased up. The surrounding troops withdrew, and Taiyuan City was opened again. The government announced to the public that they had caught the criminals. The panic of the people immediately subsided. However, some insiders were waiting for news from the Sun and Mu families. Grandpa Sun, Grandpa Mu, because of this kid, Jade Mountain has been damaged quite a bit. My second brother is also here. Jade Mountain isn't a long-term business. How about this? I'll take Ningning. I have some businesses in Wu Castle. When the time comes, you can integrate the Jade families in Taiyuan City and go to Wu Castle to take over those businesses, Guopai said with a smile. Mu Ningning lowered her head. However, she didn't raise any objections. Grandpa, my 4th brother doesn't have many businesses in Wu Castle. They are only worth about 100 billion yuan. They are involved in a wider range. Compared to the Jade business, they are much more stable. You can think about it. I'll give you some information about those businesses soon. You can also come back with me to take a look, Jia Yuan said with a smile. Nothing was better than the fact that his fourth brother was fine. Then I'll thank you in advance, Grandpa Mu, Mu Puyu said with a smile. Ningning being able to marry Guopai was one thing that had been weighing on his mind. Chapter 322. After having a simple meal in the Jade Pit, the members of the Tyrannosaurus group did not stay in Taiyuan and returned to the Tyrannosaurus Mountain to report on their mission. Of course, Guopai invited them again. 10 days later, he and Lin Shuang would be getting married. They accepted happily. Looking at the stones that had been blown up all over the ground, Guopai did not stand on ceremony. Wherever he went, he collected all the raw stones that were level 3 and above into the gourd. Once again, the group of people widened their eyes. They also agreed on Jing Bin's case. He had gone up the mountain to blow up the stones, but it had been blown up by mistake. Not even dregs were left behind. As for Go Da's group of 7, they had disappeared. They had a record in the Ministry of Public Security, but who would care about the life and death of a few desperados? It would be better if they were dead. Guopai and Guotongyuan stayed in Taiyuan City for 2 more days. During these 2 days, Guopai had not been idle. Although his carving skills were not as good as Yuer's, his carving skills still made the masters of jade carving widen their eyes. After sending Guopai and Guotongyuan out of Taiyuan City, Mu Puyu looked at his old friend and asked with a smile, "Feiyang, why are you sighing?" "It's because of this piece of jade. I bought it from Little Bad for 3 million and asked him to carve something for me. Before he left, he really did carve this jade for me. I'm so stupid. There are many raw stones at home. It's not a big problem to carve out a level 1 jade, but I forgot at that time," Sun Feiyang said helplessly. Mu Puyu laughed loudly. "Senior brother, I haven't been able to ask you for the past few days. What happened to you in the cave? At that time, your aura suddenly disappeared. It scared me to death." Guotongyuan asked with a smile as Guosha drove. "Junior brother, now that you mention it, I remember now. Back then, I asked you to keep an eye on that Jing Bin. Why did he run to the entrance of the cave? Senior brother almost lost his life." Guanadali smiled. "I had some luck. Otherwise, I would have really died this time." After Guo Pao finished speaking, Guotongyuan nodded his head in embarrassment. He didn't ask any more questions, nor did he explain why he didn't think highly of Jing Bin. After all, he couldn't say that he had gotten a few good-looking raw stones and directly entered a meditative state. As Guopai drove, his eyes fell on the Wuji Palace mark on his arm again. He could only return to the capital and ask Yuer if she knew who Wuji was. After all, Yuer had stayed in the sky much longer than him. There. Another thing was, he had another gourd. Guopai had the jade core. Guopai, he was confident that he would be able to open the seal outside the seal. The person was, and who was you? And the other thing was, Calm. The car left Huayang City. Just as they entered the next prefecture-level city, Guopai's car was stopped. It was no wonder. Although the car was good, it had the capital's logo on it. It was normal for some people to not give him face. However, what made Guopai unhappy was that the people who stopped the car did not seem to be proper government officials. "Get out of the car. It's a routine check. Show me your ID card and driver's license." "Stand aside," a fat man in uniform said to Guopai with a strong smell of alcohol. Guopai smiled helplessly. Recently, things were not going well for him. "Oh, Guopai from the capital. You don't look like a good person. There's something wrong with your car. We need to bring it back to the station. You guys can take the car behind us. Follow us." The fat man took a look at Guopai's driver's license and took it away directly. Then, he said to Guopai loudly. Guopai was indeed unlucky. The city they were in was called Yujiang City. Recently, Yujiang City was not very peaceful. The local mafia boss was hacked to death in the downtown area. There were rumors in the city that it was done by the Jianglong gang. In other words, there were external forces that wanted to infiltrate Yujiang City. Therefore, all foreign vehicles were strictly checked. Coincidentally, Guapai's car was a little pretentious. There was no choice but to follow them to Yujiang City first. Senior brother, aren't you going to give Li Yao and the rest a call? Look at that person. If it was 10,000 years ago, I would have kicked him to death with my fart. Guotong Yuan said unhappily. Junior brother, sometimes the matters of the mortal world are the real cultivation. There are still 10 days until my wedding. Since we're here, let's see what's going on in Yujiang. After Guopai finished speaking, he obediently got into a bus. His car was driven into Yujiang City by the drunk traffic policeman. If you have any acquaintances in Yujiang, you should contact them quickly. Or if you have any power in your family, you should contact them quickly. Yujiang City is not very peaceful now. If anything happens, there will be trouble in Yujiang. That person is the captain of our traffic police team. He probably has his eyes on your car. The traffic policeman driving said to Guopai without turning his head. Thank you for your reminder. But what's going on in Yujiang? We're just passing by. There's nothing wrong. Why would he leave my car here? Guopai asked with a smile. The traffic policeman couldn't help but shake his head. Don't talk about leaving your car. If he really didn't like you, you might not even be able to walk out of Yujiang alive. Not to mention the recent incident, just offending the captain of the traffic police team had caused many people to drown in the moat in recent years. Why was the captain so powerful? It was because the mafia boss who died was his brother. However, the traffic policeman didn't say anything about this. When we reach the police station, your life is more important. If you lose your car, then so be it. The traffic policeman opened the door and said to Guopai. Then, when he saw the drunk captain walking over, he didn't say anything else. Xiao Chen, lock them up first. I'll report to the chief. After the captain finished speaking, he walked directly to the police station building. Guopai narrowed his eyes and looked at the fat man. Cho Hu, okay, I'll remember. Guopai and Xiao Chen were brought to a metal house. The temperature inside was at least 40 degrees Celsius. Guopai smiled slightly and walked in without saying anything. Guotong Yuan naturally didn't say anything. Xiao Chen couldn't help but look at Guopai a few more times. 2 words appeared in his heart. Interesting. Zhang Tiancheng, I caught a rich guy at the intersection. His car is not bad. I've taken a liking to it. He's from the capital. I'm not going to work for a while. Leave the position of captain for me first. Wait until I figure out what happened to my brother, then I'll be your captain again. Cho Hu said to a middle-aged man in his 50s. This man was the chief of Yujiang City's traffic bureau. He was Cho Hu's immediate superior. However, it was hard to tell who was whose superior. Cho Hu, don't go overboard. Hurry up and let them go. How can you arrest people without any evidence? Zhang Tiancheng said loudly. Cho Hu was assigned to the police station a year ago. At that time, it was his brother, Cho Long, who sent him. Zhang Tiancheng didn't dare to say anything. On the surface, Cho Long was a member of Yujiang City's People's Political Consultative Conference. He was the boss of a few big companies in the area. Even the mayor had to show some respect to him, let alone a mere chief. However, now that Cho Long was dead, he was thinking of how to get Cho Hu out. Zhang Tiancheng, do you think that I, Cho Hu, have no backing now that Brother Cho is dead? I'm not afraid to tell you that before I came to work here, I was the vice leader of the Dragon Tiger Gang. Now that Cho Long is dead, I'm the gang leader. I'm the emperor of Yujiang. Think clearly before you speak. Use your brain. Cho Hu took a step forward and patted Zhang Tiancheng's face. After he finished speaking, he laughed and walked out of the chief's office. Cho Long was dead, but the underworld of Yujiang City wasn't in a mess. This was because even if Cho Long was dead, there was still Cho Hu. The knife in the light was like a dragon, while the knife in the dark was like a tiger. If no one in Yujiang could take care of this evil tiger, then Yujiang City would really be finished. Chapter 323. Guo Pao and Guo Tongyuan were locked up for 6 hours. The two of them did not cause any trouble, but the imperial capital and martial city were in chaos again. Originally, old Master Guo had prepared lunch and was waiting for Guo Pao to come home, but he did not expect that after waiting for a while, his phone was turned off. Xiao Yuan, is there a GPS in Little Bad's car? Can you find out where he is? Guo Tongyuan could not help but call Jia Yuan. Jia Yuan, who had just found a place to get a massage after a few days of trouble, suddenly got up. My Master Bad, what are you trying to do? You better stay in Wu Castle or the capital in the future. Although he said that, he had already called the company. Guo Pai's car had a GPS. 3 minutes later, Jia Yuan received a reply from the company. He was relieved at first, but then he became nervous again. Mr. Jia, the car you asked us to check was last seen in Yujiang City. However, the GPS on the car was removed 30 minutes ago. We can't find out where it is now. Others might not know, but Jia Yuan knew very well that there was an earthquake in Yujiang City a few days ago. The boss of the black market in Yujiang City was hacked to death. Jia Yuan started to feel uneasy. Could it be that Lao Si had met those scumbags? Damn it, it had only been 2 days. What were they trying to do? In the past, Jia Yuan had some dealings with a few businessmen in Yujiang City. Later on, one of them mysteriously disappeared. At first, Jia Yuan didn't care about it. Later on, he heard some news that it was the underworld of Yujiang City. With the principle that it had nothing to do with him, Jia Yuan really didn't care about it. Thinking about it, Jia Yuan quickly put on his clothes. The technician behind him was a little embarrassed. Jia Yuan was generous. He put down a stack of cash, and did not forget to take advantage of it before he left. The technician, who already knew a little about Big Boss Jia, was stunned. Cho brothers, don't do anything stupid. If my brother loses even a strand of hair, I will destroy your nest. Jia Yuan drove quickly to Yujiang City. Brother Yao, fourth brother is in trouble again, Jia Yuan said loudly into the phone. Second brother, don't you know what fourth brother is capable of? Hua Xia, I'm afraid the person who can defeat him hasn't been born yet. I haven't had a good rest recently, so I'm taking care of my health. Talk to you later. Li Yao said. Do whatever you want. Fourth bro is in Yujiang. I'll go take a look. Jia Yuan hung up after saying that. Yujiang, Yujiang. Li Yao repeated the name twice. He got up abruptly and ran out without even giving the money. Damn, why did OL4 go to Yujiang for no reason? Li Yao knew more than Jia Yuan. The dragon and tiger in Yujiang were nothing. The scariest person in Yujiang was the boss behind the scenes that no one had ever seen. 3 years ago, Li Yao participated in an anti-gang operation in Huaxia. He was in Huayang City at the time and had settled his matters here. When he heard that 3 elite soldiers had died in Yujiang, the army was shocked and sent out a regiment of soldiers. In the end, only one person from the regiment came back and said that there was a demon in Yujiang. After that, the special ability group intervened, but the matter seemed to have been left unsettled. At that time, the Yujiang incident was listed as Huaxia's SSS level secret. Li Yao couldn't see it even if he wanted to. Fourth bro, don't try to be brave. Damn it, no one is your match, but if a group of people tries to kill you, you'll be at a disadvantage. Li Yao mumbled as he ate. Brother Xing, have you guys gone back? Little Bad didn't go back to Wu Castle. He's in Yujiang now. Come to Yujiang. Li Yao couldn't help but call Xing Tian. The group of people who had just returned to Baolong Mountain came out again. Brother Hu, the car has been modified. We removed the GPS for you. You don't have to do anything else. This car has been modified. Cost at least this much. In a car repair shop next to the traffic police, a skinny young man pointed 3 fingers at Cho Hu and said, F***ck, I really caught a rich second generation. 3 million to modify an SUV. Cho Hu said softly. The young man shook his head. Monkey, why are you shaking your head? Brother Hu, it's 30 million. The parts in this car cost at least 30 million. I stayed abroad for a few years and this kind of modification is top-notch. If this car really speeds, there's no car in Yujiang that can beat it. Monkey said as he looked at the car excitedly. Don't tell anyone about this. 30 million. It seems like these 2 people are not ordinary people. I'll go back to the station to take a look. You can put the car in the garage first. Cho Hu said as he walked towards the traffic police station. In the small dark room, Guopai set up a cooling array. The 2 of them weren't hot. They were playing blind chess. The 2 of them talked back and forth. Obviously, Guopai had the upper hand. At this moment, the door opened. Both of you, tell me, did you kill my brother? Guopai and Guotongyuan were brought to an interrogation room. Cho Hu asked with his eyes wide open. It didn't matter if these 2 were the culprits or not. They had to be charged first. Fatty, I don't know what you're talking about. Let us go. I want to contact our lawyer. Guotongyuan shouted. Kid, have you watched too many Hong Kong and Taiwanese dramas? You want to see your lawyer? Wait here. If your lawyer can find you here, I'll let you see him. Right now, you're under suspicion of murder. You'll be sent to Yujiang prison. That's a good place. Especially for a kid like you, you're very popular. Chiu Hu laughed and said. Guopao's calm expression made Chiu Hu feel a trace of fear in the depths of his heart. However, this fear disappeared after a moment. Boss, are we really going to some prison? This is great. When we go to the prison, we'll release all the innocent people who were wronged. It'll be a great merit. Guotongyuan said loudly. The driver in front was speechless. Guopai smiled. This junior brother of his was really poisoned by Hong Kong and Taiwanese dramas. Kid, you've offended the Tiger King. You're on your own now. Let's hope that the people who will save you will arrive soon. Yujiang prison, Sai. You're too unlucky. Guopai and Guotongyuan got out of the car. The traffic police officer surnamed Chun handed them over to the police. These things were not supposed to be handled by the traffic police. But in Yujiang, as long as Cho Hu wanted to, he could. Half an hour ago, Chiu Hu had contacted the warden of Yujiang prison, Lu Ba. He was also a ruthless person. Years ago, he was sent to the prison by Chiu Long to be the warden. Every year, many people died in prison. Now that Chiu Long was dead, he immediately clung on to Chiu Hu. According to Chiu Hu, if a young man or a child wanted to come in, he knew what to do. Lord Ba, the person you mentioned just now is here. What should we do? A young man in a police uniform whispered to Lu Ba. Send them to the Demon King's cell. Tell the Demon King that during breakfast tomorrow, I won't care about their food. Lu Ba said loudly. The young man ran out with a face full of flattery. Guopai and Guotongyuan followed the young man all the way to the deepest part of the prison where people were locked up. After handing them over, the young man ran away with a face full of fear. He did not want to be the 103rd person to fall in this prison. Demon King, Lord Ba said that there shouldn't be too many people tomorrow. There won't be enough food. The prison guard locked Guopai and Guotongyuan in the cell and left quickly. If there was nothing special, everyone would walk around this cell. Chapter 324. Guopai and Guopai walked into the prison. The weather outside was very hot, but there was a trace of gloomy coldness in the prison. Guopai could not help but frown as he looked around. In the past year, at least 51 people had been beaten to death. This was because when people were killed in the most primitive way, they would leave behind a different aura that would not dissipate for a long time. Finally, Guopai's eyes met with the eyes of a middle-aged man in his 30s or 50s. You're a dragon crossing the river. You came to my place, but you still have the mind to look around. You heard what I said just now. The people outside want you to die. He stood up and said, My name is Demon King. I am the head of this prison. I have the final say here. Whether you can live or not, you have to follow my rules. Guopai leisurely walked in front of the Demon King under everyone's gaze. From the moment he walked into the prison until now, this was the first time he looked at the man called Demon King. Demon King? Someone like you dares to call yourself Demon King? If those arrogant fellows who didn't even put Yang Jian and Wu Gang in their eyes knew about this, they would be angered to death. Kid, what are you looking at? Kneel down. Before the Demon King could speak, a young man beside him shouted and kicked over. Purring! Guopai did not use any strength. With a Tai Chi push, he borrowed the force of the kick and the young man flew back a few meters. When he stood up, he saw the Demon King waving his hand and did not say anything. No wonder you're so fearless. Turns out you're a martial artist. The Demon King stood up and said with a smile, But there are rules here. If you don't kneel, you have to follow the rules. Then we'll follow the rules, you said. After so many years, no one has set rules for this young master. Guopai said with a smile. Junior brother, stand aside. If anyone comes looking for trouble with you, you don't have to kill them like you did just now. You're still young. It's not against the law to kill people. The group of people heard Guopai's words and widened their eyes. Third, set the rules for this young master. The Demon King squinted his eyes and said. He did not know why, but this young man in front of him made him feel fear in the depths of his heart. Peak Xiantian. The Demon King was already at the peak of Xiantian. Even in the outside world, he was a top expert. This was also the reason why he could do whatever he wanted in Zhejiang prison. Young master, north, south. 4 walls. Which one do you want to try? The young man named Third said with a smile. There are paths in all directions. Young master wants to try all 4 walls. Guopao said with a smile. He walked straight to the south wall. A 2-meter-tall man suddenly stood up and squinted his eyes at Guopao, who was a head shorter than him. Kid, you shouldn't be looking for me. Mad Leopard stood up and said. His eyes were red as he looked at Guopai. He had been in Jade Mountain Prison for 7 years and had only lost once. That time, he lost to the Demon King. But no one dared to find trouble with him. A soldier king has fallen to such a state. How sad. Guopai said with a hint of wisdom. You're injured. You can't set the rules of the south wall. Tell the man behind you to come out. Guopai pointed at a young man. From the moment he walked to the south wall, the young man had been staring at him like a poisonous snake. You can't win against him. Let me give you a word of advice. Admit defeat and wait for the people outside to save you. Otherwise, you'll die without a doubt. Mad Leopard said softly. At that moment, the middle-aged man behind Mad Leopard pounced forward. A silver light flashed, and a sharp weapon appeared in his hand. Mad Leopard's face darkened. He immediately gave up his position. If Poisonous Snake made a move, it would have nothing to do with him. You've killed more than one person. You're stained with so much resentment. Looks like the people you killed weren't evil. Today, I'll cripple your martial arts. Whether you can live or not will depend on your luck. Viper's speed was very fast, but Guopao's speed was even faster. As the two of them exchanged blows, there were only a handful of people in the entire prison who could clearly see what was going on. Viper's hand had already reaped no less than 10 lives, and his short spike was immediately confiscated by Guopao. After that, the short spike pierced Viper's body 9 times, and the two of them separated. Viper fell to the ground, no longer having the aura of a martial cultivator. Pa, pa, pa. The Demon King stood up. He only had a 40% chance of blocking Guopai's attack. No wonder this brat was so fearless. South Wall is yours. From now on, this prison is yours. I'll be the boss and you'll be the second boss. I can't take your life. The Demon King admitted defeat. Most of the people in the prison were stunned. The young man in front of them actually made the Demon King admit defeat. However, there were still some people who narrowed their eyes and looked at Guopai. Demon King, the rules of South Wall haven't been set. Let me, Li Taitsong of North Wall, help them. As he spoke, a man in his 30s walked out. He was at the peak of the Hotian realm. Naturally, he didn't see Guopai's moves clearly. The rules in the prison were that whoever had the bigger fist had the final say. If he could defeat Guopai, then South Wall would be his. North Wall, do you have the final say? Guopai narrowed his eyes and said. The person in front of him had a righteous aura and didn't seem like an evil person. His current character should have been formed by staying in the prison for too long. Stop talking nonsense. I'll tell you if you can defeat me. Li Taitsong directly rushed towards Guopai. His 72 long punches were vigorous and powerful. The people in the prison were very satisfied to see this. After about 3 minutes, the Demon King's face turned even uglier. 3 minutes had passed, and Li Taitsong, this ruthless person, couldn't even touch Guopai's clothes. Taitsong, you've lost. North Wall is this little brother's. The old man who had been silent all this while stood up and said. He then gave up the position of North Wall. The group of people was shocked. Very few people paid attention to the old man in front of them. However, the old men in the prison would always tell the newcomers who had a good relationship with them not to provoke Duan Baji of the North Wall. Otherwise, they would die a horrible death. The people of the Dark Clan have actually fallen to such a state. I wonder if the old man knows Sun Feiyang or Mu Puyu. Guopai whispered in the old man's ear. Duan Baji looked at Guopai fiercely and his body trembled unnaturally. I'll settle my own matters first. You can just stand aside and watch. Standing aside with Duan Baji, the Demon King took a deep breath. It seemed that he had underestimated this young man in front of him. Duan Baji was the same as him, an innate realm expert. He didn't expect him to be so polite to this young man. Lord Ba, that kid isn't dead yet. It seems that the prison is setting the rules for him. A prison guard looked at a corner not far from the prison for a long time. He couldn't find anything and directly called Lu Ba. Then don't worry about it. Get a high-pressure water gun tomorrow and wash the floor clean. Lu Ba said with a smile. The Demon King had set the rules. Until now, it seemed that no one had walked out of the prison alive. However, Lu Ba was wrong this time. He was gravely wrong. The Butcher of the East Wall and the Mad Dog of the West Wall. These were two people who had blood on their bodies. Guopai didn't hold back when he attacked. The two of them were dead. The rules of the four walls were set. 2 dead and 1 injured. Guopai once again stood in front of the Demon King. Guopai looked at the Demon King. The Demon King immediately felt cold sweat on his back. No wonder he's called the Demon King. There's actually a trace of demonic aura on him. He hid it really well. It seems that the human world isn't peaceful anymore. Chapter 325. Guopai continued to stare at the Demon King. After about 3 minutes, the Demon King felt that his back was drenched in sweat. This feeling was similar to the feeling his master gave him before he was sent to prison. The Demon King forced himself to stay awake and looked at Guopai. What's your name? Qin Chuang. Who's your master? Huaxia Evil Sect. Who's your master? The 5 evil sect elders. No, I'm asking who taught you this demonic skill. To outsiders, it looked like Guopai and the Demon King were staring at each other. However, Duan Baji could tell that Guopai was using the dark sect's puppet technique. But to enslave someone like the Demon King, he had to be at least 2 levels higher than the Demon King. The Demon King was at the pinnacle of Xiantian. Could it be that this young man was at the fasting stage? Demonic skill? No, I don't know any demonic skill. Who are you? Who are you? The Demon King suddenly grabbed his hair and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Demon King collapsed onto the ground. Instantly, the entire prison was in chaos. The invincible existence of Yujiang prison had fallen today. Guopai took a step forward and pierced 4 silver needles into the Demon King's body. However, he could clearly feel that the Demon King could no longer be saved. All his organs had been devoured by the demonic skill. He could no longer obtain any information from the Demon King. Lu Taizong looked around and the rowdy crowd immediately quietened down. Then, Lu Taizong carried the Devil King to the bed. The group of people leaned against the wall and squatted down. Yu Jiang's most powerful boss was in a situation that had never happened before. Was young master using the dark sex puppet technique? I wonder which of the dark sex 9 characters belongs to? Duan Baji took a step forward and asked respectfully. The 9 characters have nothing to do with it. My master and the old ancestor of the dark sect have some connections. That's all, Guopai said softly. However, he was still thinking about the demonic aura on the Demon King's body. Old master, let's talk about our own matters. I want to know what this guy did before he was sent to prison. I wonder if old master knows. His name is Qin Chuang. He's the disciple of the 5 evil sect elders of Huaxia. It seems like he killed someone in Yujiang prison. However, no one knows the details. Duan Baji said softly, Young master, I don't know why you are here. With your skills, those small fries outside don't seem to be able to do anything to you. Seems. Since. But. A courageous young man asked Duan Baji. They had been squatting there for an hour. The prison would serve their meal soon. If they knew that so many people had died in this cell, they would be in trouble as well. After all, the prison warden was a true devil who ate people without spitting out their bones. The few of you, pull the bodies of Butcher and Mad Dog aside. Today's matter has nothing to do with you, so you won't be implicated. Only the Demon King is dead. You should be happy. Duan Baji said softly. The group of people who were squatting there stood up. Without the Demon King in the cell, although they would be bullied by the people in the other cells, no one would die. Lord Tyrant, that kid is not dead. I didn't see the Demon King just now. It seems like someone died in the cell. The prison guard who was monitoring the situation just now took a stroll outside. When he came outside the cell again, he saw Guopai sitting on the most comfortable bed with a group of people surrounding him. However, the Demon King was nowhere to be seen. Then, he saw 2 people lying on the ground motionless for a long time. He suddenly became nervous. What did you say? The Demon King is gone and someone is dead. That's impossible. If someone died, there would be chaos in there, Lu Ba said loudly. They will all come out during dinner time. You can go in and take a look, or ask a few of the spies in the cell what happened. The Demon King was dead. Originally, it was just a matter of the cell. However, Cho Hu, who was getting a car from Monkey's place, received a call. It was a call that made his whole body tremble when he saw the number. Master, Big Brother is dead. I was just about to tell you. The murderer hasn't been found yet, but we have caught a few suspicious people, Cho Hu said respectfully into the phone. Who came to Yujiang today? You can ask Lu Ba. Something happened at the prison. Qin Chuang is dead. Don't you need to tell me about such a big matter? Looks like I have to set up new rules for all of you. A low voice sounded. Cho Hu almost knelt on the ground. The words, set up new rules, were like a sharp knife, each word cutting into his heart. No, master. I will contact Lu Ba immediately. I will ask him what happened. I will give you a reply in a moment. Cho Hu said loudly. His whole body was soaked in sweat. He had only met his master 3 times. The first time, he was still a hooligan. At that time, he and Cho Long were chased to a dead end by a group of hooligans in Yujiang City. They were saved by his master. At that time, He only knew that none of the corpses that chased them were intact. After that time, he and Cho Long received countless benefits from his master. From an ordinary person to a Xiantian master, from a hooligan to a reputable figure in Yujiang City. However, every time their master saw them, he would leave an indelible shadow in their hearts. The second time, there were 3 soldier kings. One was lit by his master as a lantern, one was made into a human rod, and the last one was directly dismembered. At that time, he and Cho Long looked at the 3 soldier kings' painful expressions and his master's evil laughter. The third time, there was a regiment of soldiers. His master only used one move, and hundreds of heads rolled on the ground like rubber balls. Even when the heads were cut off, the bodies were still moving. At that time, he and Cho Long did not dare to have any disloyalty to their master. Master Hu, the matter is not settled yet. There seems to be a problem, but I guarantee that those 2 brats will not see the sun tomorrow. Lu Ba said softly. He was afraid of Cho Hu, just like how Cho Hu was afraid of his mysterious master. He did not want his head to be cut off for no reason. Lu Ba, did something happen in your prison? I will give you 10 minutes. The Demon King is dead. Find out who killed him in 10 minutes. I only want result. Cho Hu shouted. Put the matter of those 2 brats aside. Why is the Demon King dead? You still don't know. What? What did you say? The Demon King is dead? Impossible. No one in the entire prison is a match for the Demon King. How could he be dead? Lu Ba said loudly. I'll go check it out. I'll go check it out now. I don't believe that anyone can kill the Devil King. After saying that, Lu Ba hung up the phone and ran to the Devil King's cell. Coming. If you know that Qin Chuang is dead, then I will soon know who you are. Guo Pai heard footsteps at the staircase. He stood up gently and smiled as he looked outside the prison. Open the door. You guys hold your guns. If anyone dares to move, just shoot. No need to be polite. Lu Ba walked out of the prison and said to the people behind him. He knew that there were at least 10 desperados in this prison. No matter what, safety first. Qin Chuang, let Qin Chuang come out. What's with the 2 people lying there? Viper, what's with the blood on your body? Lu Ba asked several questions. Warden Lu, I don't know if you are looking for the Demon King or the 2 people lying there. No one in the prison dared to speak. Guo Pai stood up and asked Lu Ba. Who are you? Why haven't I seen you before? I am looking for the Demon King. Where is he? Lu Ba said loudly. He had ordered Guo Pai and Guo Tongyuan to be locked up, but he had never seen the 2 of them. The Demon King is injured and is lying in bed. Do you want to go and take a look? Guo Pai said with a smile. Injured? Isn't he dead? It's good that he is not dead. Chapter 326. Warden, the Devil King is dead. Before Lu Ba could finish his words, a young man standing beside him whispered. Lu Ba's face suddenly turned gloomy. He pulled the young man outside, and the prison gate was closed again. Little you, this is the warden of the prison, Lu Ba. He's a ruthless guy. Be careful later. Duan Baji whispered to Guo Pai. Guo Pai smiled. I'm not afraid of him looking for me, I'm afraid that he won't come. If he doesn't come, how can I find the mastermind behind this? About 3 minutes later, Lu Ba walked into the prison again and looked at Guo Pai with a smile. He couldn't believe that the kid in front of him could kill Butcher and Mad Dog. The biggest problem was that the Devil King's death seemed to have something to do with this kid. Friend, I think there seems to be some misunderstanding between us. I'm the warden of the prison. Why are you in prison? Lu Ba said with a smile. Then he pulled a prison guard to his side and kicked him in the waist. The prison guard fell to the ground. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. I also want to ask Warden Lu. I don't know why I was brought here. It seems that I was just checked by the traffic police. I was brought here without any procedures. It doesn't seem to make sense. I don't know if the Tiger King of the traffic police team has anything to do with Warden Liu. Guopai looked at Lu Ba with a smile. After a moment, Lu Ba's eyes darkened. Guopai stepped forward to help him, and the two walked out. Guotong Yuan followed behind. The group of prison guards and people in the prison were all stunned. Only Duan Baji watched the three of them leave and smiled meaningfully. Brilliant, really brilliant. Lu Ba was controlled by Guopai's puppet technique. The two walked directly into the warden's office. Guopai sat on the leather sofa and looked at the dazed Lu Ba. He had caught the small shrimp, and now it's time to see who the big fish is. Bad master, Chiu Hu asked me to call him back in 10 minutes. He wants to know the cause of Qin Chuang's death. I only know that there is a very strong person behind Chiu Hu. I don't have the right to know. My martial arts were all taught by Chiu Hu. He gave me a pill that filled my body with strength. Lu Ba lowered his head and said, "Call Lu Ba and tell him the truth. Qin Chuang is dead. He was killed by the two boys he sent. See what he has to say." Guopai said with a smile. Lu Ba dialed Chiu Hu's number. "Master Hu, the Demon King is dead. He was killed by the two people you sent." "Who are the people you sent?" "I didn't dare to look for them because I was afraid of alerting them." "What do you think we should do next?" Lu Ba said into the phone. "Impossible, those two youngsters are just rich second generations from the imperial capital. How could they kill Qin Chuang? Qin Chuang is Master's personal disciple." Chiu Hu said loudly. Guopai happened to hear him. "Personal disciple, it seems that I have to catch this Chiu Hu first." Lu Ba hung up the phone. Chiu Hu didn't say that he was coming. Guopai walked out of Yujiang prison and directly took a taxi to the traffic police station to meet this Chiu Hu. Of course, Chiu Hu didn't know any of this. "Master, senior brother Qin is dead. He was killed by two people." Lu Ba didn't say clearly what happened, but I have seen those two people before. They are just two teenagers. We haven't offended anyone recently, so I don't know where they came from. Chiu Hu said into the phone. He didn't dare to tell his master that Guopai was in Yujiang, because if his master knew that his senior brother died because of this, he would die miserably. "You have disappointed me. To be able to kill Qin Chuang, their strength must be at least at the peak of the Xiantian realm. You have no news at all. Haha, disappointing, really disappointing." The person on the phone laughed. Chiu Hu trembled and didn't dare to speak. "Xiao Hu, I'll give you one last chance. Find the person who killed Qin Chuang and send him to me. Otherwise, you can go and find Qin Chuang. I want to see him before tomorrow night." Ha! The phone hung up, but the laughter didn't disappear. Chiu Hu's hand was still holding the phone, his face pale. "Xiao Chun, gather everyone in the team and come to me." Chiu Hu opened the window and took a deep breath. He shouted at Xiao Chen, who was smoking in the courtyard. Xiao Chen almost burned his hand from the smoke. Since the Tiger King gave the order, he had to carry it out quickly. "Xiao Chen, you have seen the two people in the car that we investigated today. Tell them that the person might not be in Yujiang prison anymore. I can't get through to Lu Ba's phone. I will go to Yujiang prison later. You guys split up and look for them. If you find the whereabouts of the two people, call me immediately." Chiu Hu said with a gloomy face. "Master Hu, look, there are two people in our courtyard. They look like the two people you said, one big and one small." Before the police left, a traffic policeman by the window saw the two people walking in. If it wasn't Guotong Yuan and Guopai, who else could it be? "You guys can leave. There's no need to look for them. They are here. Xiao Chen, invite them in. Be polite." Chiu Hu's face suddenly changed. Since they were here, he had something to say to his master. The people in the office dispersed. Xiao Chen had already invited Guopai and Guotong Yuan into the house. Chiu Hu welcomed them at the door. He used his heart to feel the aura of the two people. Wu Xiu, there was no Wu Xiu's aura. How could he kill his senior brother? With the strength of these two brats, they wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. However, based on his many years of experience in the underworld, Chiu didn't dare to act rashly. This was because he knew from his master that there were many Wu Xiu who could hide their aura. Master Hu, we meet again. How's the investigation of our car? If there's nothing else, shouldn't you return our car to us? We still have things to do in the capital. We have to go back. Guo Pai said with a smile. There's no problem with the car, but it's not with me now. Today, a friend came to me and asked me to lend it to him. How about this, let's go find my friend tonight. First, I'll treat you two to a meal. Second, we'll drive the car back. Little brother, what do you think? Chiu said with a smile. Guo Pai narrowed his eyes and looked at Chiu. He didn't dare to use the puppet technique anymore. Qin Chuang's death had already let him know that this Chiu was already in the Xiantian realm. It should be related to the great demon's aura. Since he called him out, it seemed like he was going to meet the master. There was no way to hide. Although he was a little worried, Guo Pai believed that he had the ability to protect himself. My junior brother isn't very comfortable in the police station. This time, let's not let him go. I'll go with you. Let's have a good meal tonight. How about it? Guo Pai said with a smile. Although Daoist Tong Yuan's methods were not ordinary back then, it was better to let him stay with his current strength. Chiu didn't say much. He extended his hand and invited Guo Pai out. Then, he asked Xiao Chen to accompany Guo Tongyuan. The two of them drove off in a police car. Not long after Guo Pao left, Jia Yuan found out that Guo Pao and Guo Tongyuan were at the traffic police station according to the surveillance system of Yujiang City. He drove there directly, followed by a few leaders of Yujiang City. What puzzled Jia Yuan was that when the leaders of the city arrived at the traffic police station, they looked around as if they had entered a den of thieves. Brother Yuan, why are you in Yujiang? Don't tell me that your car is too good and you got caught by these bad traffic police. Guo Tongyuan said loudly when he saw Jia Yuan walking over. Tongyuan, where's your senior brother? Where's Guo Pai? Where did he go? Jia Yuan asked nervously. Guo Tongyuan then saw Li Yao coming down from a military vehicle and asked loudly. He followed an interesting guy to do something even more interesting. My senior brother ate alone and didn't let me follow him. Brother Yao, why are you here too? He didn't know that Li Yao came to Yujiang on a military plane. Then, he drove a military vehicle from the army and killed his way here. The military's satellite could naturally tell him where Guo Pai was last seen. If anything happens to my brother, I'll bury all of you corrupt officials in Yujiang with him. Chapter 327. A police car drove through the downtown area with its siren on and headed towards an abandoned factory in the suburb. The car stopped and Guo Shuai opened his eyes. Master Hu, your friend sure lives in a secluded area. This is a good place to kill and rob, Guo said with an evil grin. That's right. Cough cough, little brother, you must be joking. My friend likes peace and quiet. Give me a moment, I'll make a call. Chiu took the phone and walked to the side. Guo Pai ignored Chiu and began to sense the movements in the building. In an instant, Guo Pai quickly retracted his divine sense. Just like him, there was another divine sense coming towards him. The two divine senses met. Haha, little Hu is here. I was wondering why I was in such a good mood today. It turns out that there are important guests. Please come in, quickly come in. Before Chiu's call went through, an old man walked out. He was dressed in white and had a smile on his face. Looking at him, he looked like an immortal. Master, I have brought the person. Chiu thought for a long time and said these words. Little Yu, how about we go in for a chat? The old man said with a smile. Guo Pai nodded lightly. Chiu followed behind and the three of them disappeared into the building. Yes, this building was just a smokescreen. When the car drove into the building, Guopai had already noticed that the person in front of him was an array master. He must have some kind of treasure on him. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to not sense his cultivation. A trace of uneasiness welled up in his heart. People like this were the most terrifying. Guopai unconsciously fiddled with the gourd at his waist. Little you look unfamiliar. I don't know who your master is. This old man is Taoist little you. I have been in Yujiang City for some time. I don't know how my disciple offended you. As his master, I would like to apologize to you. But little you was too heavy-handed. My disciple did not deserve to die. The old man said with a smile. Chiu Hu, who was standing at the side, was stunned. First was his master's attire. When Chiu Hu first met his master, he knew that his master didn't like the color white. But today, he was dressed in white. Second was his master's aura. Although Chiu Hu's realm wasn't high, he could feel that his master was different today. Today's aura made Chiu Hu, who had learned demonic arts, feel very uncomfortable. Third, when the special ability group sent a few experts who were at the fasting stage, his master wasn't polite to them. Why was he so polite to this kid today? Tiandao Sex Guopai. I was passing by Yujiang and was stopped by your disciple. I don't know where you came from when you said that I killed your disciple. Guopai narrowed his eyes as he looked at Taoist Yujiang. Little you, is what little you said the truth? What happened to your senior brother Qin Chuang? It seems that master has been treating you too well recently. You actually dared to lie to your master. Taoist Yujiang's gaze landed on Chiu Hu's body. Chiu Hu immediately knelt on the ground, his hands tightly covering his head. He wanted to shout out, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't make the slightest sound. Outsiders couldn't tell what had happened to Chiu Hu, but with a simple wave of Taoist Yujiang's hand, the little bug that was originally inside Chiu Hu's head began to get excited. Senior, this punishment is a bit too heavy. As Guopai spoke, he also waved his hand. A silver needle that was hard to see with the naked eye directly pierced into the little bug's body. In a moment there was no sign of life. Chiu Hu also gradually calmed down. Little you, the sect has its rules. When I teach a disciple, it seems that little you should not interfere. Taoist Yujiang said with a smile. Taoist Yujiang? No one has mentioned this name in Huaxia for 300 years. Guopai narrowed his eyes and said, although I have never seen Taoist Yujiang, I more or less have some understanding of this person. A pure immortal technique does not seem to be like senior. A 7-star demonic bug, this kind of thing is rare. Who are you? Taoist Yujiang loudly said. A powerful pressure enveloped Guopai. Who am I? Why don't you tell me who you are first? Descendant of a great devil? I don't know which great devil you are the descendant of. Where is Taoist Yujiang now? Guopai loudly said. The pressure that enveloped him disappeared. Haha, I didn't expect you to know about the great devil. Then I don't need to care about who you are because you will die. The old man roared. The white clothes on his body directly turned black. Chiu Hu directly fainted from the powerful aura. Guopai did not dare to be careless at this time. A long sword appeared in his hand. This long sword was obtained from the old lord's gourd. It was the strongest method he could use now. Heavenly Tao sect, I have never heard of it. You can't lie to me. You are from the heavenly court. I really did not expect that the great shamans of the Buddhist sect and Tao sect did not look for me. You, a person from the heavenly court, actually dare to interfere with the matters of us great devils. You are courting death. With that said, the entire sky suddenly darkened. A bloody aura surrounded Guopai. Descendant of the blood devil? Guopai frowned. This bloody aura reminded him of something. However, he immediately took out the true samadhi fire. It's the shadow of the blood devil. You are the true body of the blood devil. Could it be that you have escaped from the array? Guopai roared. The true samadhi fire evaporated the blood aura around him. True Samadhi fire, what is your relationship with the old Lord Taishang? I will not kill you today. The next time we meet, I will not let you go. With that said, the bloody aura in the air disappeared. Guopai saw an afterimage that was about to escape. He immediately took out the gourd that was like an open gourd and shouted at the afterimage, "Retract!" The word "retract" on the gourd took effect. The afterimage was directly sucked into the gourd. Cough, cough, cough. You want to run? I have already taken out the true Samadhi fire, and even used my life force. You still want to run? If I let you escape, I will not be able to survive in the human world. Guopai said with a pale face. The illusion array just now was gone. He was now squatting in an abandoned building. The police car outside sounded. Senior brother, are we late? Guotong Yuan only realized that things were serious when Guopai's aura disappeared. He followed Li Yao and a group of people to this place. When they arrived, they found Guopai squatting on the ground. We shouldn't have followed the police car here. It's always like this in Hong Kong and Taiwan movies. We must be late if we follow the police car. Guotong Yuan said loudly. The group of policemen behind him did not dare to make a sound. This kid in front of them was nothing. However, when they thought about the big guy who made their bureau chief tremble with a phone call and the group of people who came later with the gold medal of the T-Rex group, they were completely listless. Little Bad, you were too impulsive this time. How are you? Are you okay? Xing Tian took a step forward and asked with a smile. He could feel that Guopai's aura was weak. To be able to make a person who was in the fasting period afraid, it was obvious that the opponent this time was not weak. Damn it, I don't know if it was worth it this time. The matter is settled, but I didn't get any benefit. Guopai took a deep breath and said. He then put a pill into his mouth. He had to hurry back to the capital and let Yuer protect him. He wanted to see who the guy in the gourd was. Chapter 328. The matter was basically settled, but Guopai didn't leave that day. At night, Chiu Hu woke up. However, no matter what Guopai did, Chiu Hu couldn't remember anything about Blood Demon. However, he confessed everything that he and Qiu Long had done over the years. Based on what he said, it would probably be enough for him to be shot 100 times. Of course, when you pull out the radish, you'll find the mud. Everyone related to Qiu Hu and Qiu Long was interrogated. For a time, Yujiang City began its biggest rectification movement since the founding of the country. The people of Yujiang City applauded and praised. Firecrackers sounded at night, and it was even livelier than the New Year. That night, Mu Puyu and Sun Feiyang rushed to Yujiang City. When they heard what Guopai said, they broke out in cold sweat. Of course, Guopai had already been released from prison. According to seniority, Sun Feiyang and Sun Feiyang were his senior uncles. This time, Guopai had helped the Dark Clan a lot. Fourth brother, when you return to the capital this time, you can either stay in the capital or go to the martial arts arena. If you keep doing this, your brothers won't be able to afford it, Jia Yuan said loudly after drinking a few glasses of wine. Second brother is right this time. Fourth brother, although I don't know who you fought with in the end, I know that there are a few people in Yujiang who are not to be trifled with. Back then, they made the soldier king of the army suffer. Even Hua Xia's special ability group didn't gain any advantage. Although fourth brother's strength is at this level, it's easier to dodge a spear in the open than an arrow in the dark. Who knows when you'll fail, Li Yao said softly. Thank you for your concern, brothers. I promise I won't be so impulsive next time. When you guys come, we'll gather enough people and go in with our machine guns. It'll be safer this way. Guopai said with a smile. However, if they really went up against the fake Taoist Yujiang today, it would be useless even if they used their guns. Let's hurry back tomorrow morning. You have to think about what to say to Grandpa Gua. This time, you really gave him a shock, Li Yao said with a smile. After dinner, Guopai didn't care whether it was late at night or not and directly called the old man. The old man scolded him for a while. However, the old man was relieved that nothing happened this time. It seemed that his grandson was really capable. Early the next morning, after bidding farewell to the group of people from Taiyuan, the group of brothers from the Tyrannosaurus group did not return early this time. Together with Guo Pao and the others, the two military vehicles led the way. They did not encounter any trouble on the way and arrived at Wuching that afternoon. "Yours okay, are you hurt? Are you hurt? If you can't, you should come back to school. You see, you have to come back to school. Look at you, you see, yous get back to school. Ute. And. You. Brother bad guy, why don't you come back? It's okay if you don't come to school. If you stay here in Bugyaku, we can see each other often," Morong Weiwei said with a blushing face. The girls talked back and forth as if they were going to part forever. Guopai couldn't help but sigh. Life in this world was really interesting. "Don't worry, there won't be any problems in the future. Since you're all here, see if you like it. I've prepared another one for each of you." As he spoke, Guopao took out a box from his body. A row of jade pendants lay inside. "Thank you, Brother Bad Guy. Look, this is mine. Brother Bad Guy carved it according to my appearance," you said with a smile as she took one of the jade pendants that looked like her. The other girls also took the jade pendants that looked like them. Everyone was very happy, except for little Ling Mo, who was pouting. "Little Ling Mo, what's wrong? Does brother's carving not look like yours?" Guopai looked at little Ling Mo and asked. "It looks like it, but it's still developing. You made it so small, it will definitely be different in the future. I know Brother Bad Guy likes big breasts, but you clearly don't like me." Little Ling Mo's words made everyone laugh. Then, the girls blushed. In the end, Guoxiao promised to carve a new one for little Ling Mo when she was 18 years old. Only then did he give up. After dinner, the girls went to bed one after another. Guopai was called to the study by the old man again. "Little Bad Guy, can't you let Grandpa and Grandma worry less? It's okay for you to go to Taiyuan, but why did you cause an explosion?" Guopai asked loudly. Luckily, the room's soundproofing was good. Otherwise, he would have to laugh at a bunch of people. "Taiyuan's matter has just been settled, and you caused such a big commotion in Yujiang. Why are you so nosy? Yujiang is changing a lot, and this is the government's matter. Why are you meddling in it? If you want to be an official, Grandpa will help you," Guopai continued. "Grandpa, calm down, calm down. Why don't you try this jade thumb ring? Sun Tzu used the best jade to carve it for you." As he said that, Guopai put a jade thumb ring on Guopai's thumb. A cool feeling came from the thumb ring, making Guopai feel comfortable for a while. Although Guopai didn't know why it was like this, his grandson was no longer the playboy of the past. He gladly accepted it. Guopai spent a lot of effort on this jade thumb ring. Just the cooling array on it took a lot of time. Following that, Guopai gave a jade Buddha to the old man. This was the old madam's item, so the old man could use it as a favor. In the end, the two of them chatted about the capital, Bugyaku, and Guopai's wedding in a few days. The old man gave Guopai another lesson before letting him go. However, Guopai felt good. This kind of familial feeling was something he hadn't felt for tens of thousands of years. Although he couldn't have any worries when he ascended, it was still early. Guopai wasn't worried. "Lingling, you miss your husband, right?" Among the few girls, Guopai only dared to touch Sun Lingling. This time, he was very careful. The old madam didn't see it. Guopai directly set up an array, causing the room to be filled with spring scenery. It wasn't until 4 o'clock in the morning that Guopao got up and removed the formation. He then leisurely escaped. However, Sun Lingling didn't wake up in the morning. The group of people naturally knew what had happened. Their faces flushed red, and they ate their breakfast very quietly. "I'm going back. Next week, I will be marrying teacher Lin Shuang. You all have to come and learn from me first. When the time comes, it will be useful. After saying that, Guopai's car sped out of the Guo residence. The group of girls blushed even more. Stinking brat, you don't have any peace of mind. Although the old madam said that, she was very happy to see such a big family. After returning to the imperial capital, Guopao went straight to Baolong Mountain. No matter what, the Dragon King had given him enough face this time and sent out 8 dragon team leaders at once. Xia Wudi really didn't treat Guopao as an outsider. Dragon King, it seems that your body has recovered well. I'm afraid that there aren't many people in Huaxia who can win against you. Your name as Xia Wudi has been confirmed. Guopai joked. Brat, I don't like what you said. Are you praising me or yourself? Even if this old man trained for another 100 years, I'm afraid I won't be your opponent. Xia Wudi laughed. Guopai helped him adjust his meridians. Xia Wudi shouldn't be far from stabilizing in the golden core stage. Bad guy brother, if everything is settled, shouldn't you come back? Guopai had just gotten into the car when you were called. First wife, I miss you too. When I go back, I'll show you something good. Look at what your brother has caught. After saying that, Guopai's car sped out of Baolong Mountain. Chapter 329. Although the trip to the cloud platform this time was thrilling, the harvest was also quite bountiful. Not to mention the limitless palace, just the jade core and the yin-yang twin life jade were enough for Guopai to show off in front of Yuer for a long time. You almost lost your life and you still want to show off, Yuer said with a smile. Guopai scratched his head embarrassedly. That's right, this time he really almost lost his life. Speaking of which, he still had to thank Yuer. If Yuer didn't communicate with the big sister above, this matter would really be serious. Yuer, my wife, speaking of this matter, I still have to thank you. If you didn't ask the fairy to help me recover my body, my life would really be in danger. Guopai said with a smile. His hands were mischievously hugging Yuer. What? I asked Big Sister to help you recover your body? No. Although I divined that you would have a calamity, I didn't contact Big Sister. I also can't contact Big Sister. Why would she help you? Yuer asked with her eyes wide open. It's not the fairy? Then who could it be? Guopai told Yuer everything that happened in the Jade Pit. The two of them stared blankly at each other. Now Guopai thought even more. It seemed that being banished to the lower realm wasn't that simple. However, thinking about it from another perspective, since he was banished to the lower realm, he should properly torment the life in the lower realm. Guopai also didn't think much about it. He hugged Yuer and made love again. Stud, big bad guy. Yuer couldn't help but scold. You said you caught a person related to the blood demon. Where did you put him? Now that we have the Jade Core, why don't we set up a formation and see if the person inside the gourd is the demon slayer warlock Qiu Daoyuan? Guopai gently nodded. A large piece of Jade Core was placed in front of the two of them. It was a good thing. Even if it was placed in the heavenly court, it would make a group of people jealous. Guopai carefully cut a small piece from the Jade Core and then divided it into 9 parts. Guopai was very clear about the formation in the gourd. He directly set up the 9 heaven illusion formation. This formation didn't have any attack power, but it was definitely a good formation to protect one's life. Yuer, help me guard the area. I'll leave this thing to you. Even if an Aurus Core stage expert comes to cause trouble, use this thing to blast him. Even if he doesn't die, he'll lose a layer of skin. Guopai threw 2 jade balls, one black and one white, to Yuer. Guopai reluctantly cut them from the yin-yang twin life jade. He made a total of 3 pairs. They were definitely useful for protecting one's life. Bad guy brother, when it comes to these dirty tricks, I'm afraid that even all the true monarchs in the heavenly court together wouldn't be your match. This is the lower realm, not the heavenly court. You have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. When the Jade Emperor came to find trouble with you, why didn't you give him one? Haha. You took the jade ball and said with a laugh. You can't joke about this. Help me guard. If the person inside is that demon slayer warlock, I'll call you. Guapai said as he once again immersed himself in the formation in the gourd. However, Guapai and Yu didn't know that they wouldn't be able to find the person with the blood demon's aura. It didn't matter if the person inside the gourd was the blood demon's shadow or someone related to the blood demon. The two experts in the gourd who hadn't come out for tens of thousands of years didn't care so much. 2 days ago, Guapai put the shadow inside the gourd and directly threw it into the deepest part of the gourd through the formation. The powerful fluctuations once again attracted the attention of Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan. Stinking brat, you sealed one of my doppelgangers today. I'll remember this. Don't let my other doppelgangers meet you. Otherwise, I'll definitely cut you into pieces. Guapai had indeed done something earth-shattering. The shadow he caught this time was indeed one of the blood demon's doppelgangers. During the Demon Slayer War, several great demons were sealed. However, the great demons were very powerful. After tens of thousands of years, traces of demonic aura escaped from the sealing formation and transformed into doppelgangers. Because they were restricted by the rules of the human world, the great demons usually kept a low profile. The doppelgangers weren't very strong. They were afraid that if they attracted a heavenly tribulation, their efforts over the past tens of thousands of years would be in vain. Two stinking old men, what are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll kill you. The blood demon's doppelganger said to Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan in an extremely pretentious manner. Old Manly, don't you feel that this person's aura is a little familiar? Qiu Daoyuan squinted at the blood demon's doppelganger and said, It's been tens of thousands of years. I didn't expect to see you again. Who are you? Do you know me? The blood demon was stunned. These two old men before him did not have the aura of a powerful being. How could they know him? But how could he have known that after tens of thousands of years of forbearance, these two old men could already retract their auras as they wished? Old Qiu, it's that person's aura. How could I have forgotten? Back then, the reason why the two of us were trapped here was because of him. Seems like this little fella outside has some capabilities. To think that he would give us such a big gift. Li Shixin chuckled out. His aura was released completely, causing the entire calabash to vibrate. Holy F***ck. What's with such a huge commotion? Yours truly has only broken open a few small formations. You guys can't be preparing to break out of them, right? Before the blood demon could react, Guapai, who was in the midst of breaking the formations, was startled by the commotion caused by the calabash. I know who you guys are. You guys are that Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan from back then. To think that you guys are still alive. Impossible. How can this be? The moment Li Shixin's aura descended, the blood demon recognized these two people. If they weren't the two demon slayers from back then, who else could they be? Haha. Old friend, we meet again. But this time around, it seems like we're bullying you with numbers. Li Shixin burst out laughing. The blood demon's body was trembling. Bullying with numbers? Any single one of them could have turned him into dust within this calabash. Old Li, don't kill him. Ask him how many demon slayers are there in the human world right now and where they are. No matter if we can escape from this calabash or not, we've got to get a clear picture of the situation outside. After that, we'll think of a way to inform that kid called Guapai so that we can get rid of all the demon slayers in one fell swoop. Qiu Daoyuan was thinking far ahead as he transmitted his voice to Li Shixin. Li Shixin nodded his head gently and retracted his aura. He then looked at the blood demon with a smile. We've been fighting for so many years now. We can be considered old friends. You demon slayers do have some capabilities. To think that even the formations back then could not trap you guys. Li Shixin chuckled out, Lord Blood Demon, do you have a way to break out of this formation? Let's get out together. Without the aura, the Blood Demon felt much more comfortable as he walked over to the two of them. Run? There was nowhere for him to run. Fight? Back when the two of them were sealed inside the calabash, they were already at the grand completion stage. If they wanted to ascend, they could do so with just a single word. As for the Blood Demon, he was only at the fasting stage. Fighting the two of them would be suicide. Fellow Taoists, this calabash was stolen by the lustful demon from old Lord Taishang. Naturally, I know about this formation. However, if the two of you want to get out, you'll have to give me some benefits, right? The Blood Demon said with a chuckle. Of course there will be benefits. We can guarantee that once we get out of this calabash, we won't find trouble with you. Isn't that the biggest benefit? Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. After all these years, you must have quite a number of clones, right? Damned old Taoist, I know you guys don't have good intentions. You actually want to enslave my clones and find out the whereabouts of my other clones. You guys are underestimating me, the Blood Demon. Ha ha ha. You guys can stay inside this calabash forever. After saying that, the Blood Demon's clone turned into a cloud of blood mist. Chapter 330. Guopai naturally didn't know what was happening inside the gourd. He was still breaking the array. Of course, he wasn't just breaking the array. He was breaking the array while setting up the array. Who knew if the person inside the gourd was a friend or foe? After the incident with the cloud, Guopai was much more careful. Old Manly, little Yu is here again. When he broke the third array, Qiu Daoyuan felt the fluctuations outside. He said with a hint of excitement, "Let's wait this time. Don't scare this little guy away." After Guopao broke through the third array formation, he immediately stopped. Last time, before he reached this place, there was already some movement inside. This time it was a little strange. Old Qiu, little Yu outside is much more cautious than last time. I think you should ask him through voice transmission, Li Shixin couldn't help but say after an hour had passed since they sensed that Guopai had broken the array. Little Yu, we meet. No, I should say, we will meet again after you break the last two arrays, Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Ahem, ahem. It's been a while. Guopai wasn't sure if the person inside the gourd was the exorcist that Yu had mentioned, so he decided to trick him. I heard from my first wife that Senior is an exorcist from 10,000 years ago. I wonder if Senior received the gift I gave you the day before yesterday. Guopai wasn't sure if the person inside the gourd was the exorcist that Yu had mentioned. Little friend, you are truly capable. To think that you would be able to collect a clone of the Blood Demon into the gourd. Since you know my name, why don't you hurry up and break the magic array? Let's meet up and have a chat. I'm not the only one trapped in the gourd. Even the demon-slaying Taoist Li Shixin is here, said Qiu Daoyuan excitedly. Are you really a exorcist? Guopai was stunned. When Qiu Daoyuan mentioned Li Shixin's name, he more or less believed it. This was because Yu had said that the two of them were trapped at the same time. However, they were still very cautious in case there was a trap. Since your wife knows my name, let her come and I can prove my identity. However, I have never heard of the Tiandao sect that little Yu mentioned that day. I don't know who little Yu really is. If little Yu can't explain it clearly, I'm afraid this old man won't dare to say anything to you. Qiu Daoyuan said loudly. Guopai didn't believe him, and he didn't dare to say that he completely believed the young man outside. It had only been a few days in the mountain, but it had been 1,000 years outside. He had been in the gourd for so long, and he didn't know what was going on outside. All right, Senior, please wait a moment. I'll have my first wife talk to you. If I can confirm Senior's identity, I'll definitely save Senior. At that time, I'll apologize to Senior. Guopai said loudly. His divine sense was left in the gourd, and he had already run out. The large array outside was arranged by himself, so it naturally didn't hinder him. When Guopai came out of the gourd, it was already the night of the second day. It took him a total of 20 hours to break these large arrays. Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. He really didn't expect that it would take so long. Bad guy brother, you finally came out. Let's go to Bugyaku first. There are a few foreigners outside. They say they want to talk to you. You sensed that Guopai came out and said loudly. Foreigners, let's go and have a look. Guopai said with a smile, First wife, it's very likely that Xiao Daoyuan is inside the gourd. He said that Li Shixin is also inside. This time, it seems like brother is going to be rich, haha. If it's really those two people, you can't let them out. I'll tell you slowly later. Let's go to Bugyaku first. Yuer said with a smile. Guopai looked at her blankly, but he didn't ask much. The two of them had already walked to Bugyaku. Mr. Charlie, we really don't know when our dojo master will come out. Sometimes he will be in seclusion for a long time. Why don't you go back first? It's time to get off work in Bugyaku today. Chen Jiadi said in fluent English. Jiadi Chen, we can wait. If dojo master Guo doesn't come today, we will wait until tomorrow. We will keep waiting. We want Bugyaku to give us an explanation. We want to be treated the same as Hua Xia. The middle-aged man named Charlie said loudly. Explanation? What explanation do you want? Guopai came out of the house. Because he was breaking the array in the gourd, Guopai's face didn't look too good. He felt a little weak. Who is he? Charlie was stunned. He looked at Guopai and asked. His heart was filled with evil thoughts. With such a beautiful woman by his side, he could really torment himself. However, it was fortunate that Guopai and Yuer didn't know about this. Otherwise, the whole Charlie would be dead. Dojo master, you finally came out. This foreigner is shameless. He doesn't want to leave our clinic. Chen Jiadi said in Chinese with a smile. Jiadi Chen, this is not good. We are not shameless. We are just waiting for dojo master Guo. Another foreigner said loudly in broken Chinese. You are Guopai, dojo master Guo? Guotong Yuan squinted his eyes and said to the man named Stephen while fiddling with the raw stones, F***CK, that's really insidious. He actually knows how to speak Chinese. Then why did he find a foreign speaker to chat with us for a while? Junior brother, don't bother with those few stones. At most, there's only a 6th level jade inside. I'll give you a big one later. You can learn how to carve. When the time comes, we'll open a jade shop in the imperial capital. Consider it your pocket money, haha. Ha 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 ha, Guopai said with a smile. He didn't care about these two foreigners. They came to Hua Xia and still acted so arrogantly. Who were they trying to show off to? Senior brother, you are thinking too much. You see me grinding stones. In fact, I am not grinding stones. Guotong Yuan said with a smile. Then, Guopai also laughed. Jiadi Jia, prepare to eat. The rules of Bugyaku cannot be broken. When it is time, do what you should do. If there is anything, we can talk about it tomorrow. Guopai said loudly. The two foreigners couldn't help but stand up. Dojo Master Guo, is this how you treat your guests in Hua Xia? Hua Xia has always been a country of etiquette. We have been waiting for you here for a day. Stephen said loudly. Treat guests? I forgot that there are two foreigners here. Then let's eat together. Guopai said with narrowed eyes. So what if they are foreigners? This time, they came here to ask for help. How dare they act so high and mighty? Who are they trying to scare? Dojo Master Guo, eating is a small matter. We have something to tell you. This is the letter of introduction from our embassy. Stephen said as he took out something that looked like an invitation. Let's eat. I am hungry. Let's talk after eating. Guopai didn't give them any face. He put the letter of introduction aside and sat in his armchair, waiting for Chen Jiadi and the rest to clear the table and eat. Awesome. Look at our dojo master. So what if he is a foreigner? When he comes to Bugyaku, he has to lie down as he should. Chao Qianquan followed the other Bugyaku students and gave them a thumbs up. The two foreigners were completely stunned. What happened next made everyone applaud and praise Guopai again. The two foreigners were directly arranged to the small table. At first, the dishes were the same. However, Guopai's good wine and good meat were only served to the Bugyaku people. A few people even shamelessly blew the wine in their cups in front of the two foreigners. The two foreigners who were originally fond of good wine finally couldn't help it. Dojo Master Guo, we protest. This is not fair. Protest overruled. Chapter 331. Objection overruled. Guopai said loudly to the two of them. Stephen still wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Charlie. The two of them stopped talking, and Charlie took out his phone and started calling the embassy. Boss, they are calling the embassy, Chen Jiadi said with a smile. They were not afraid of trouble. They still remembered clearly the situation when Bugyaku opened for business. In the capital, Bugyaku really did not need to be afraid of anyone. Bad guy bro, why are you treating two foreign friends like this? You were asked with a hint of confusion. Er's wife, it seems like I have to bring you out more. Now, our relationship with these two foreign countries is not good. When I came back from Taiyuan, I saw many people holding banners and marching. They came to me and asked for an explanation. What explanation? This is the explanation. Guopai did not avoid it and said loudly. Stephen, who was not far away, heard it clearly. Charlie hung up the phone and looked depressed. He originally wanted the embassy to put pressure on Bugyaku, but who knew that when he called, the embassy's reply was that it was best not to provoke the people of Bugyaku. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. No one could help them. They should communicate well and solve it if they could. If not, they should go back to the embassy. Stephen translated what Guopai said to Charlie in his ear. Only then did the two of them know why they were treated like this. It turned out that the big backer they were so proud of had brought them a lot of trouble this time. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, the few students cleaned up the dining table. Guopai narrowed his eyes and looked at the two of them, who were obviously not very comfortable eating, and the two of them stood up. Master Guo, let me introduce myself. My name is Stephen, the American ambassador to China. First of all, I would like to represent myself and apologize to the people of Huaxia. The recent events were the thoughts of some people in the United States, but most of us Americans are still very friendly. Stephen said with a smile. Oh, I am very gratified that Mr. Stephen can say so. I don't know why Mr. Stephen came to Bugyaku this time. I don't think I need to personally deal with your small illness. Let Emperor Jia and the others prescribe some Chinese medicine for you. I guarantee that the illness will be cured. Guopai said with a smile, but your companion seems to have a bigger problem. Stephen looked at Charlie. What problem could this guy who was as strong as a bull have? However, looking at Guopai's expression, it didn't seem like he was lying. Stephen directly translated Guopai's words to Charlie. On the surface, this big guy seems to be fine, but I guess this big guy should have been a soldier in the past. His back was hit by a bomb and he had a surgery. Although the surgery was very successful, it damaged his vitality. Vitality, you won't understand even if I explain it to you. However, in the words of our Huaxia, losing this thing will cause great harm to one's body. Guopai said with a smile. Stephen directly translated it to Charlie. Charlie's initial doubts became nervous. Help me ask Master Guo if there is any way to restore the vitality that he mentioned. I was indeed injured. Although the surgery was very successful, sometimes I do feel uncomfortable, and I can't tell the reason. Charlie said nervously. Let's talk about the purpose of your visit. Your illness isn't a big problem. I can get someone to take a look at you tomorrow. Guo Pai said with a smile in fluent English. Pills, Master Guo. I really didn't expect Hua Xia to have such a magical thing. Bugyaku's pills should belong to the whole world. They should benefit the whole world, not just Hua Xia, Stephen said excitedly. He had also heard a few people talking about the medicinal pills in the medical center during a gathering by chance. Then, he personally interviewed a few people who had taken the medicinal pills. Then, he spread the news of the medicinal pills to the country, causing a huge uproar. My dear Stephen, you're really too cute. You Americans have the most advanced technology in the world. The best doctors in the world are all in America. How could you be interested in Hua Xia's little things? Stephen, don't joke around. Guo Pai said with a smile. No, Master Guo. Hua Xia is a magical country. Although your medical skills haven't been recognized by all Americans in America, I think that in the near future, it will definitely become popular in America, Stephen said loudly. Also, Bugyaku's pills, I can guarantee that if it's in America, Bugyaku will make a fortune. Chinese medicine will also be fully accepted by Americans. Opening Bugyaku overseas, that's a good idea. After hearing Stephen's words, Guo Pai suddenly had an idea. Opening a clinic overseas and promoting Chinese medicine would definitely be a great merit. Seeing that Guo Pai was deep in thought, Stephen looked at Guo Pai nervously. His heart was filled with anticipation. If he could really bring the pills back to America, he would also become famous. At that time, what was the point of staying in the embassy? Earning money was the way to go. However, Charlie didn't think too much about it. He was thinking about how to cure his illness. I will consider your matter. Since the two of you are here, it's fate. I'll first treat Mr. Charlie's unmentionable illness. Then, I'll get someone to discuss the cooperation with you. However, I hope to see your sincerity. It's not easy to open a clinic in America, Guo Pai said with a smile. Stephen and Charlie were both excited. Don't worry, Principal Guo Pai. If you really want to open a clinic in America, I'll help you with all the paperwork, Stephen said loudly and looked at Guo Pai excitedly. Guo Pai didn't say much. He walked to Charlie and took his pulse. Then, he wrote a prescription. Then, he called Chao Qinkuan over and brewed a Chinese medicine for Charlie. Charlie drank it in one gulp and then cursed nonstop. However, after a while, Charlie suddenly hugged Guo Pai's thigh. He could clearly feel a warm current on his injured back. That kind of comfort was 100 times more comfortable than any massage. It was too comfortable. Stephen looked at Charlie's expression and was completely stunned. Is it really that comfortable? Guo Pai didn't say much. He took out 2 silver needles and pierced them directly into Charlie's shoulder. Charlie moaned comfortably. Those who didn't know would think that something inappropriate had happened in Bugyaku. After about half an hour, Charlie stood up again. He held the Chinese medicine that Guo Pai had wrapped with both hands as if he had received a treasure. He carefully wrote down the brewing method that Guo Pai told him on a piece of paper. Then, Guo Pai didn't stand on ceremony and let Charlie swipe $1,000 to settle the bill. Mr. Stephen, since my husband is going to the United States to open a medical center, I think you can help him with the early stages. If there are any problems, you can contact this person and pass this to him. He will do his best to help you. When Guo Pai and Stephen discussed the matter of the clinic, Yu happened to overhear it. When Yu first came to the human world, she obtained a green card in America and took over a large family. Since she was going to America again, it seemed that she could use her identity from back then. It just so happened that she wanted to go back and take a look. Dear Miss, I wonder what relationship you have with the Regis family. If you know someone from the Regis family, it will be much easier for Headmaster Guo to open a clinic in America, Stephen whispered. He didn't dare to be careless with the girl in front of him anymore. Yu gave him a name card. It was the name card of the head of the Regis family, Regis Shak. Many people hadn't heard of Shaq, but those who did knew that as long as they had a relationship with him, there was nothing that couldn't be done in America. Just tell him that the girl from the Luo family wants your help. If you think there's a problem, you can give Mr. Shaq a call. I think he will help you. I don't know how many friends are reading Nine-Fingered's books. I hope that they can leave a message for Nine-Fingered to give him some motivation. Nine-Fingered thanks. Chapter 332. Of course, Stephen didn't make the call in front of Guopai and Yura. He returned to the embassy with Charlie. Although he didn't get a definite answer from Guopai, according to Guopai's words, it was only a matter of time before the pills were sold to the United States. Stephen's task was more or less done. Hello, may I trouble you to look for Mr. Shaq? I'm Stephen from the embassy in China. At 9 o'clock the next day, Stephen couldn't help but call the name that Yura gave him. I'm Shaq, but I don't know you. Why do you have my number? Although Stephen had never seen Shaq in person, he had heard Shaq's voice in many videos. That's right, this voice belonged to Regis Shaq. I'm sorry to call you, but this number was given to me by a lady from Huaxia. She said she's from the Luo Xing family. I wonder if Mr. Shaq has any impression of this Luo Xing family? Stephen asked softly. Luo Xing family? No. Shaq was just about to say that he didn't know when Yu's face appeared in his mind. How could he not know her? She was the Huaxia girl with many tricks up her sleeves. I know her. Just tell me if you need anything. I'll help you as long as it's within my power. Stephen was so excited that he almost dropped his phone. No matter if he could work with Guopai or not, he could do a lot of things in the United States just by having a relationship with Shaq. If Shaq could give him some advice on stocks or other investments, Stephen wouldn't have to worry about the rest of his life. Of course, Stephen didn't say much over the phone. He only told Shaq that he would tell him everything in person when he returned to China. Shaq happily agreed. Of course, Yu and Guopai didn't know about this. Yu's wife, it seems like I've underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have people in the biggest empire in the world. After the matter was settled, Guopai hugged Yu and smiled. Humph, in order to find you, I went directly to the United States, and you still have the nerve to say that. You're living a good life in Huaxia, Yu said with a pout. I will make it up to you in the future. Guopai once more extended an Lushan's hand, but Yu grabbed it. Big scoundrel, let's get down to business. Is the person in the gourd really Qiu Daoyuan? I don't know. There is still the Seal God Array and the Exterminate God Array. I will be able to break those two magic arrays. However, given my current level of strength, if I break those two magic arrays, I will not be able to set up magic arrays on the same level as those two magic arrays. If there is a great demon inside the gourd, I fear we will be in danger, Guopai said softly. However, that fellow with the aura of the blood demon seems to have really disappeared. I will go in with you this time. If it really is the demon slayer warlock Qiu Daoyuan, I have a way to recognize him. Yu said softly. However, if the two of us go in together, we must find someone who can protect us. Otherwise, if someone causes trouble, we will be trapped in the gourd forever like them. Guopai lightly nodded and called Guotongyuan over. He gave Guotongyuan a pair of Yin-Yang twin life jades and then called Xiaowudi. Following which, the 8 leaders of the Tyrannosaurus group moved out together with more than 20 late-stage Xiantian experts of the Tyrannosaurus group. This kind of lineup was rare even in Huaxia. Brother Xing, no matter what happens, do not let anyone near this room. My life is in your hands. Guopai pulled Xing Tian to the side and whispered. Naturally, he did not tell Xing Tian what they were going to do this time. Xing Tian did not ask any questions and nodded firmly. After the people outside finished setting up, Guopai and Yu sat on the yin-yang twin life jades, one black and one white. Guopai then threw a few jade cores around. Just like that, the strongest magic array that Guopai could set up was completed. Bad guy Big Brother, if it is the two demon slayers, don't get too excited. They will not be able to come out of this gourd, Yu said softly. If it is them, why can't we save them? Guopai asked, puzzled. Bad guy Big Brother, why are you so stupid? Think about it, when they were sealed in the gourd, they were already experts at the peak of the fusion stage, and could ascend at any time. After staying in the gourd for so long, how can they not make any progress? Not to mention coming out, once you open the last god sealing formation, you must immediately set up the heaven-deceiving formation. Otherwise, if the upper echelons find out, the rules of this world will not tolerate them. When the time comes, if heavenly lightning strikes, all the deaths in the world will be counted on you. Even if you walk the path of merit 10 times, you will not be able to withstand the deaths of so many people, Yu said seriously. Guopai only realized the seriousness of the matter at this time. He even wanted to retreat. It is not impossible to make them come out. After opening the formation and seeing them, I will think of a way, Yu said with a smile when she saw Guopai's helpless expression. Sister Chang'e was really good at divination. When Yu came to the lower realm, Chang'e waved her hand and threw 8 invisibility talismans to Yu. Although she did not say anything, now that Chang'e thought about it, it was probably to help Guopai find some powerful helpers in the world. If Yu still did not know the purpose of her sister sending her to the lower realm, then she would not be worthy of being the first fairy of the heavenly court for so many years. Guopai looked at Yu's confident expression and nodded with a smile. His first wife was definitely not ordinary. Break the formation first. Block soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. This young master was still living a comfortable life after being demoted from the heavenly court. This young master will take on this matter. Although Guopai was very clear about the last 2 formations in the past, he did not dare to be careless. He knew that with his current strength, if he was careless, it was very likely that he would fall into the formation. If he really fell into the formation, there was probably no second person in the world who could break the formation and save him. Guopai calmed down after the formation was broken. Yu gently nodded. Guopai's voice was transmitted into the gourd. Qiu Daoyuan smiled at Li Shixin. Little Yu finally came again. Senior, this kid is here again. You should be able to feel that I have also brought my wife. Guopai said with a smile. As long as Senior can prove that you are the demon slayer warlock Qiu Daoyuan, this kid will find a way to break the last formation. The bloodline of the great wizard? I don't know which bloodline you belong to. Of course, I can prove who I am, but that was 10,000 years ago. Although you have the bloodline of the great wizard, you can only know whether I am the real Qiu Daoyuan when you get the inheritance of the great wizard. Qiu Daoyuan said with a voice transmission. At that time, the human tribe and the great wizard joined hands to kill the demon. If you are really Qiu Daoyuan, the contract should be with you. Senior, you don't need to know which bloodline I belong to. As long as you can show me the contract, I can naturally judge whether you are Qiu Daoyuan or not. Yu said with a smile. About the contract between the human tribe and the great wizard, even mind-reading sage did not know much about it. Haha, it seems that the little girl is a descendant of a few old friends. Interesting. Since the little girl knows about the contract, then I'll let you see the life and death contract that old man Li and I made with Kong Xian back then. Qiu Daoyuan said with a laugh. Then, he looked at Li Shixin beside him. The two closed their eyes at the same time. 2 half-stones full of energy floated out from their bodies. When Yu heard Kong Xian's name, she could already confirm that it was the 2 demon slayers in the past. However, she still wanted to see what the life and death contract that she signed with Kong Xian, the #1 war general of the Great Wizard, was like. Chapter 333. Guopai and Ewer didn't know that the moment Guopai and Liwudi took out the contract stone, the sky above the capital changed. The originally cloudless sky suddenly darkened and thunder rumbled. Ordinary people thought it was a thunderstorm and didn't think too much about it. However, Wu Xiu, who had entered the Hotian realm, more or less felt a little uncomfortable. Due to the influence of the monsoon, a temporary aurora appeared in the capital. Everyone, don't panic. The relevant departments are investigating the cause of this matter. The capital's television station immediately issued an announcement, greatly alleviating the panic of the citizens of the capital. However, Wu Xiu didn't believe that this extreme weather was caused by the monsoon. Foster father, such a big movement, could it be caused by Guopai? Xia Fian asked softly. Xing Tian and the others went to Guopai's place. Will anything happen? This is the power of the heavens. I don't know if it was caused by Little Bad, but the center of this power is indeed above Bugyaku. Xia Wudi said softly. I hope nothing will happen. The moment Xiao Wudi and Li Wudi took out the contract stone, the shriveled old man under Changbai Mountain's heavenly lake suddenly opened his eyes. A huge whirlpool suddenly appeared in the calm heavenly lake, and the shriveled old man was at the center of the whirlpool. Impossible, how can there be a contract stone in the human world? Could it be that those people from back then have all reincarnated into the human world? The heavens are unfair. Are they trying to destroy the last hope of our demon race? The shriveled old man roared loudly. The creatures in the heavenly lake all fled, as if they were facing a great enemy. At the same time, on some seemingly uninhabited islands in the South Sea, a group of old men with unknown strength also appeared. They looked in the direction of the capital thoughtfully. Guopai and Ewer, who were at the center of the storm, were completely shocked by the two contract stones. The power of a contract that could make a great shaman and two human experts sign a life and death contract was definitely a terrifying existence. Today, great shaman Kong Xian, Li Shixin, and Qiu Daoyuan of the human race signed a life and death contract. The three of them agreed to work together to eliminate demons and die together. No matter when the senior magi rise or when the humankind is in power, the agreement between the three of us will never change. The two simple lines of words made Yu widen her eyes. No wonder she rarely saw Kong Xian smile happily in the heavenly court for so many years. When encountering a great demon, this number one master of the great sorcerer would always rush to the front. Every time he came up, he would fight with his life on the line. He was known as the number one killing god in the heavenly court. He was not inferior to Bai Qi in the human world back then. If Kong Xian knows that we saved the person who has a life and death contract with him, he will do it even if you ask him to deal with the Jade Emperor when you return to the heavenly court in the future. Haha, Ewer said with a laugh. Please take back the contract. We already know who you are. I can tell you who I am now. As Ewer spoke, a sparkling and translucent pearl appeared in her hand. It slowly floated in the air. Separated by the divinity sealing formation, Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin opened their mouths wide. When Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin took back the contract stone, the pressure in the sky above the imperial capital suddenly disappeared without a trace. Before everyone could rejoice, an invisible pressure descended once again. It was even more terrifying than the heavenly pressure just now. Some Hotian Wu Xiu directly fainted from the pressure. Even Guopai in the gourd had no choice but to stabilize his mind and resist the pressure of Yu Er's pearl with all his strength. Moon Soul Pearl, you are not that one. You are that rabbit god who followed her in the past? Qiu Daoyuan murmured. Yu nodded with a smile. She took back the pearl and the imperial capital finally returned to normal. Moon Soul Pearl, my dear wife, I didn't expect you to have such a good thing on you. You actually didn't take it out for your husband to see. You are so naughty. Guopai naturally recognized the pearl on Yu Er's body. He couldn't help but say, "You have already caused so much trouble by not letting you look after the Moon's soul pearl. If you know that I have this thing on me, I don't know what kind of trouble you will cause." Yu said with a trace of anger. Guopai scratched his head in embarrassment. There were indeed a lot of things happening recently. However, it wasn't as bad as what she said. "Rabbit God, I wonder where this little Yu came from." Qiu Daoyuan looked at Guopai and asked. "Little Yu is proficient in formations. Could it be that you are the successor of the Tai Sui elderly lord?" "The two of you guessed wrong this time. It is normal that you don't know this big bad guy. When the great demon ran amok, he wasn't even born yet," Yu said with a smile. "However, among the most dazzling golden immortals who ascended in the heavenly court in recent years, Mind-Reading Sage is definitely a top expert. He is very outstanding in all aspects. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been sent to the lower realm by the Jade Emperor." After saying that, Yu couldn't help but laugh. Qiu Daoyuan looked at Guopai carefully and nodded gently. Although it was Guopai's physical body, with Qiu Daoyuan's strength, he could still see some clues. The experts of the fusion stage were completely different from the people who ascended to the heavenly realm later. They only needed to avoid the wrath of the heavens. If they wanted to ascend to the heavenly realm, they had to withstand the heavenly thunder. At that time, those who could ascend to the heavenly realm definitely had the strength of a quasi-sage. Thinking about Kong Xian, that person was in existence who could slaughter sages. He had signed a life and death contract with these two from the human race. It could be seen how powerful Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin were at that time. "Seniors, you don't have to look at me like this. I made a mistake in the heavenly court. I will cultivate in the lower realm for a few years. Sooner or later, I will be able to go back," Guopai said shamelessly. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin laughed. "Little Yu, what's so good about the heavenly court? It's better to be free in the human realm. Back then, we slaughtered the great demons in the human realm. How awe-inspiring was that? It was many times better than the days in the heavenly court," Li Shixin said with a laugh. Indeed, the heavenly court didn't do much when the great demons ran amok because of the rules. Life in the human realm is indeed good. It's not good for us to talk like this. Why don't we let this kid break the array formation? We can talk in detail after the two of you come out," Guopai said with a smile. Qiu Daoyuan shook his head gently. "Little Yu, it's better if you don't break this God-sealing array. We are already very happy to be able to chat with you like this. I've been thinking a lot these days. With our current strength, I'm afraid that when the array formation is broken, it will attract the wrath of the heavens. When that happens, the people in the human realm will be plunged into misery and suffering. Neither you nor I can bear it. It's better if we don't break this God-sealing array," Qiu Daoyuan said softly. "Both of you, the moment Big Brother Bad Guy opens the array formation, you can hide your strength directly. Then, Big Brother Bad Guy will open the heaven-deceiving array. At that time, I will completely seal your strength. As long as the two of you cooperate well with us, nothing will happen," Yu said as she held two invisibility talismans in her hands. "Since Rabbit God has such good things in his hands, what are we worried about? Little Yu, quickly set up the array formation. This old man can finally go out. Get someone to prepare wine and dishes. This old man hasn't had a good drink for tens of thousands of years." Qiu Daoyuan looked at the items in Yu's hands and said with a laugh. After tens of thousands of years, there was finally a chance to come out. Guopai smiled and nodded. Once again, he sent all of his consciousness into the array formation. When the God-sealing array was opened, the two pinnacle experts were about to be released. Just thinking about it made him excited. However, at this time, an uninvited guest came to Bugyaku. Chapter 334. Old mister, please pass me your number plate. A newly recruited student from Bugyaku said to an old man with a smile. Song Qing was very happy to be chosen by Bugyaku to become a member of Bugyaku. The things she learned in Bugyaku were more than what she had learned in her 4 years of school. Girl, are you talking about this number plate? The old man took out the number plate he received this morning and handed it to Song Qing with a smile. Song Qing led the old man into Bugyaku. Sister Qing, you go ahead. I will take care of this old man's illness. Guotong Yuan had unknowingly walked up to the two of them and said with narrowed eyes. Song Qing nodded her head lightly. She naturally knew that this young man, who claimed to be Master Guo's junior brother, was a top-notch physician. Old man, did you bring your ID card? Guotong Yuan asked with a smile as he brought the old man into his house. Since little you already know that I am not here to see a doctor, why ask? The old man said with a smile. I am Gu Qian Daoist. This is my first time here, and I found something interesting, so I came to take a look. Guotong Yuan looked at this Gu Qian Daoist in front of him. It seemed that there was no such person in Huaxia for nearly 10,000 years. What could he be here for? The biggest problem was that this Gu Qian Daoist gave Guotong Yuan the feeling of an enemy. So it is Gu Qian Daoist. However, you came at a bad time. My senior brother is in seclusion. As for the interesting thing that you mentioned, I wonder what it is? Guotong Yuan said with a smile. Little brother, you are pretending to be confused. Since I am here, I know what is going on. Please ask your master to come out and meet me. Gu Qian Daoist said with a smile. Guotong Yuan looked at Gu Qian Daoist's expression and cold sweat appeared on his back. Who was this old man? Why did he seem to be able to see through him? Senior, my senior brother is indeed in closed-door training right now. Why don't you wait in Bugyaku for a while? My senior brother should come out in 3 to 5 days. When that time comes, you can tell him if there's anything. Guotong Yuan said softly. He had no confidence in beating this person in front of him. Since little brother says so, I'll wait here in Bugyaku. Club Master Guopai, he took something from me, so I think he should return it to me. Daoist Master Guopai walked out with a smile. Guotong Yuan discovered that his entire body was soaked. His hands were tightly clutching the black and white jade balls that Guopai gave him. Although Daoist Gu Qian left in a carefree manner, he was also covered in cold sweat. The strength of the young man in front of him was somewhat different from his own, but he felt a trace of danger from Guotong Yuan's body. He could not afford to gamble. Brother Tong Yuan, who was that old man just now? He gave me a somewhat uncomfortable feeling. Little brother, you're too polite. I don't know when Master Guo will come out of seclusion. This old man is a little anxious. Daoist Master Gu Qian smiled and took the red packet. He squinted at Guotong Yuan and said, I'm not sure about this, but my senior usually doesn't stay in seclusion for too long. Senior, please wait a little longer. Guotong Yuan said softly. Daoist Master Gu Qian didn't say anything. He nodded and went back to his room. The second day passed. Guopai was carefully breaking the formation in the gourd. After tens of thousands of years, the conferred god battle was no longer as simple as it was in the past. Although Guopai was proficient in formations, it still took him a lot of effort. Now, he was getting closer and closer to the formation core. Guopai took a deep breath. He was finally about to break the formation. Damn it, the formation is about to be broken. Just who is this brat? How can he break the formations I set up in the past? Damn it. Daoist Master Gu Qian said loudly in the room. Who was Daoist Master Gu Qian? Since the blood demon had a clone in the mortal world, how could the lustful demon not have one? This Daoist Master Gu Qian was one of the lustful demon's clones in the mortal world. It was this primordial lustful demon that tricked the two demon slayers into the formation. Brat, so what if you can break my formation? Release those two old fellows. This great demon isn't afraid of you. It's only a matter of time before I deal with you. I'll let you be rampant for a few days. I want to see if those two old fellows will dare to come out after you break the formation. Taoist Master Gu Qian, one of the lustful demon's clones in the mortal world, said loudly. Guo Pao found the eye of the God Seal formation. As long as he sealed it, the formation would be broken. Of course, Guo Pao didn't dare to directly break the formation. This time, Guo Pao didn't feel bad about the jade core. He cut the palm-sized jade core into several pieces. Then, he silently recited a spell to set up the formation. Suddenly, he used the yin-yang twin-life jade beads to blast open the God Seal formation. He used the most primitive method to break the God Seal formation. Thunder once again rumbled in the sky of the imperial capital. However, it only lasted for a moment before it faded away. Guo Pao squatted down on the ground. The heaven-deceiving formation was activated. Guo Pai naturally didn't know that the heavenly thunder this time had caused many couples to break up. Later on, the head of the imperial capital's weather bureau was almost beaten up by several youths. Give the two seniors the invisibility talisman. They can come out now. Chapter 335. Give the invisibility talisman to the two seniors. They can come out now. Guo Pai wasn't sure how long his heaven-deceiving great array could deceive the heavens, so he hurriedly said to Yu. Two talisman papers made of unknown materials were thrown towards Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin. The moment the heavens might appeared, the two's hidden strength was almost exposed. Following that, the invisibility talisman disappeared from their bodies. At a glance, the two of them were no different from ordinary people. "Haha, this daddy is out!" Qiu Daoyuan roared. He had already appeared in the room. Li Shixin's face was also filled with excitement. After tens of thousands of years, he could finally see the light of day again. The moment the last great array was broken, Taoist Gu Qian fiercely spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he was only a clone, the last great array was connected to his life essence blood. When the great array was broken, the aura of the main body in the land of demons ceiling had decreased by a lot. Of course, the clone was also affected. Seniors, the outside world has changed a lot compared to the past. When you go out later, no matter what you see, don't be surprised. Guo Pai and Yu also came out of the great array. Guo Pai was holding the gourd of Mount Laojun in his hand. He didn't expect that other than the two sealed experts of the human race, there wasn't even a pill. He couldn't help but sigh. Bad guy brother, Tong Yuan is outside. His expression doesn't look good. Should we go out and take a look first? Yu said with a smile. It seems that an interesting person has come to Bugyaku. As Yu's voice fell, Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin's faces turned gloomy. Although their auras were concealed, and in terms of strength, they could only display the peak of the fasting realm. However, after fighting with the Great Devil for so long, how could they not sense the Great Devil's aura? The two of them simultaneously looked outside Bugyaku. Little Yu, just as Miss Yu said, there is indeed an interesting fellow outside. Let's go out and take a look. I think this person would like to meet the two of us. Li Shixin said with a smile. Guo Pai nodded lightly, and the four of them opened the door to the backyard. Guo Pai, who was outside, wanted to say something, but was stopped by Guo Pai. The few of them walked towards Taoist Gu Qian. I'm Qian Gu. I've been waiting in Bugyaku for many days. You're finally out. Taoist Gu Qian said with a smile. Because he had just spat out a mouthful of essence blood, his aura was a little unstable. Taoist Gu Qian, I think it should be the Gu Qian old demon. Gu Qian, Gu Qian, Gu Qian. Back then, there was only the word desire. I really didn't expect that Lord Lustful Demon would be so careful now. Back then, the great demon's face was completely lost because of you. Qiu Daoyuan said loudly. Guopai regained his senses. F***CK, I've really gotten into a fight with the great devil. I've captured a clone of the blood devil, and now, a lustful devil clone is in my bugyaku. Haha, the two of you, long time no see. Daoist Qiu is still so unforgiving when he speaks. However, shouldn't the two of you thank me? If I hadn't trapped the two of you in the formation back then, who knows, the great shaman might have gotten rid of you after you've outlived your usefulness. The lustful devil clone said loudly. Lustful devil, isn't this method of sowing discord a little too clumsy? Senior Qiu is right about one thing. The great devil's face has been thrown away by the two of you. Yu took a step forward and said with a smile. This Taoist Gu Qian was only at the fasting stage. Although he was a clone of the great devil, and might have some tricks up his sleeve, the four of them were all at the fasting stage. Why should they be afraid of him? Little girl, there's actually the aura of a great shaman in your body. I wonder which fella's descendant you are. This daddy likes soft and tender descendants of great shamans like you. These few years I've been tormenting you quite a bit. Haha, little girl, come and nurture this old man today. Taoist Gu Qian looked at Yu with a lewd smile. If you want this great aunt to accompany you, we'll have to see if you have the ability. Also, you'll have to see if my husband agrees. Yu wasn't angry. She already knew what a lustful devil was like tens of thousands of years ago. There was no need to be angry with him. You guys have the advantage in numbers today. Could it be that you guys want to fight me like back then? Taoist Gu Qian narrowed his eyes and looked at Guopai. Little fella, why don't we have a spar? My gourd is yours. Guopai didn't say anything. There were two human experts here. He had just come out of the array and hadn't recovered his energy yet. Naturally, he wasn't going to take the lead. I alone am enough to deal with a lustful demon clone of yours. I will satisfy your little wish. After not seeing you for tens of thousands of years, I would like to see what a lustful demon clone of yours is capable of. With that, Li Shixin took a step forward and narrowed his eyes at Taoist Gu Qian. Demon-slaying Taoist Li Shixin. Bah! Since you're looking for death, I'll take your life as a sacrifice to the thousands of disciples who died back then. Taoist Gu Qian's white robe turned black. The entire Bugyaku was shrouded in darkness. It was just like when Guopai went to the Gu clan. Guopai wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Qiu Daoyuan, who shook his head gently. Little bad, don't worry. Old Manly has 100% confidence in dealing with a lustful devil clone. Qiu Daoyuan smiled. But after a while, Qiu Daoyuan's face darkened. Li Shixin, it's been so many years. Have you been sleeping in the gourd every day? You haven't improved at all. If that's the case, you can go to hell. Taoist Gu Qian said loudly. The few of them didn't expect that this lustful devil clone, who was originally in the fasting realm, would break through to the golden core realm in just a short while. It was at the pinnacle of the golden core realm. There were faint signs of it breaking through the golden core realm and forming the nascent soul. To think that the human world would be like this. No wonder the lustful devil is so arrogant. Driven by desire. Anyone with desire can provide power to the lustful devil. Old Manly is in danger. Qiu Daoyuan shook his head. However, he had no intention of stepping forward to help. Lustful devil clone, capital of the lustful devil. Taoist Gu Qian roared. 9 identical Taoist Gu Qian appeared in midair and surrounded Li Shixin. Behind them, something that looked like a castle appeared. To think that a clone can summon the lustful devil capital. Could it be that the true body of the lustful devil has escaped from the seal? Qiu Daoyuan said loudly with an anxious expression. Big brother bad guy, if this goes on, Senior Li is going to lose. If he is sucked into the lustful devil capital, with our current strength, there's no way we can save him. Senior Chiu, aren't you going to help? Guopai looked at Chiu Daoyuan and asked. We agreed to fight one-on-one. How can we not abide by the rules of the pugilistic world? Back then, it was because of this that the great devil had something against us. This time around, if old Manly loses, I'll let the lustful devil rest up before I heal up. Chiu Daoyuan gripped a long sword tightly in his hand and closed his eyes, preparing for his attack. F***CK. You're worried that we'll be criticized for fighting one-on-one? That's not easy. Let's all attack together. Then, it won't be a battle of attrition anymore. If you don't go, I'll have to. It wasn't easy for me to save you guys. If the lustful devil takes you guys away, yours truly will suffer a huge loss. The moment he said that, Guopai leaped into the air. The yin-yang twin beads destroyed one of the 9 clones, causing the lustful devil capital to disappear gradually. Lad, this is a one-on-one fight. How dare you not abide by the rules? The lustful devil clone roared out. Abide by your mother's rules. You've even summoned the lustful devil capital using the human's desire. What rules do I have to abide by? Do you think that it'll be over if you take care of us one by one? Guopao shouted. The short sword in his hand destroyed another silhouette. His eyes were fixed on one of the silhouette and the real body. Chapter 336. Since I wasn't able to participate in the great demon-slaying war back then, I shall make up for my losses today. Guopai said as he took out the gourd from Mount Laojun. Lustful demon, if I were to take in this clone of yours, your true body would be greatly weakened due to the lack of essence blood when you come out, right? Ha! No, kid. You're cheating. The lustful demon's clone roared out. Of course, he knew what Guopai meant. If this clone were to die, then it wouldn't matter much. The essence blood of the clone would slowly return to the place where it was sealed and enter the body of the true body. However, if it were to be taken into the gourd by Guopai, then his strength would definitely be greatly reduced. That was because this clone truly did contain his essence blood. Stinking brat. Yours truly will remember this. As long as humans have desires, I, the lustful demon, will not die. Sooner or later, I will come and find you again. As soon as he said that, the 7 phantoms in the air fused into one and exploded. Thankfully, he had set up a defensive formation for Bugyaku before he came out. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble this time around. Cough, cough, cough. Bloody hell. To think that he would self-destruct just like that. Having a clone sure is awesome. Guopai looked at Daoist Gu Qian, who had disappeared into the air, and scolded softly, Seniorly, what's with that expression of yours? This kid had just saved you. If not for his timely actions, you would have been taken into the lustful demon capital by now. Li Shixin glared at Guopai. Was this kid really a true lord that was banished down by the heavenly court? Back then, there were many people from the heavenly court who had come down to the lower world. All of them followed the rules of combat. Since it was a one-on-one battle, then so be it if he died. He couldn't allow others to gossip about him, right? But this kid had done it well. First, he ambushed him. Then, he threatened him. Li Shixin felt that he might as well just die. Old Manly, things happened too suddenly. You don't have to think too much about it. Anyway, this clone of the lustful demon is already dead. Hurry up and come down. Naturally, Chiu Daoyuan saw through the situation and said with a smile, Brat, this is the only time. Next time, even if you kill this old man, don't do anything. Li Shixin said loudly. However, after interacting with Guopai for a while, Li Shixin's temperament had completely changed. There were several times when they fought in the human world, and Li Shixin was also very happy to fight. Of course, with the lustful demon's doppelganger crippled, Guotong Yuan and the others breathed a sigh of relief. They knew that this old man was powerful, but they didn't expect him to be this powerful. Fortunately, they didn't make a move back then. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a match for this old man even if they worked together. Junior brother, Brother Xing, come here. Let me introduce you. Guopai and Li Shixin came down from midair, and the few of them returned to the backyard. Guopai called the few of them over. After the matter was settled, Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan felt that their eyes weren't enough to take in everything. The things in front of them were too novel. Guopai's room was a little better. It had a hint of simplicity. When they reached the living room, the air conditioner was turned on. The two old men were stunned. Then, Guopai called the Dragon King. The two of them stared at the phone in Guopai's hand. The few of them couldn't help but laugh. Seniors, you can't feel it when you are in the array. Another 10,000 years have passed in the outside world. Yu said with a smile. I'll ask Brother Bad Guy to tell you more about it and bring you out for a walk. When the time comes, you will know what kind of world this is. Yu said with a smile. Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan nodded. Little Bad, I have a question to ask you. Wine, this world has wine, right? The few of them drank tea and chatted for a while. Qiu Daoyuan asked in a low voice, and he couldn't help but lick his lips. Seniors, speaking of wine, you asked the right question. In the whole Huaxia, or even on Earth, only Bugyaku has the best wine. Guotongyuan said with a smile, but whether you can drink it or not depends on your face. Whose wine? This old man's mouth is a little greedy, but ordinary wine really can't satisfy this old man. Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Li Shixin listened and nodded. In the past, he and old Qiu went to heaven and earth. What kind of delicious food had they not eaten? Their relationship with Kong Xian was good. They basically had enough wine of the great Magi. They even tasted the wine of the Jade Lake Convention in the human world. Seniors, when you taste Brother Bad Guy's wine, you will know what real wine is. Yu said with a smile. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin's eyes fell on Guopai. Hey kid, the two of us have been released from the gourd today. We have to thank you properly. Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. This old man doesn't have anything good on him. This magic weapon was made from the eye of a giant whale in the South China Sea that had already turned into a human. Today, I give it to little you. This thing was snatched from the great devil in the past. It should be the relic of someone in the Jade Lake, who was now captured by the great devil. We cultivators don't care about the origin of this thing. I think it suits you very well. This thing is for her. Li Shixin said and handed a jade hairpin to Yu. 7-colored heart-setting hairpin. Senior, this is a good thing. The moment Yu received it, she immediately recognized the origin of this hairpin. It should be the keepsake of the eldest disciple of the Jade Lake sect. When the great devil besieged the Jade Lake sect, the eldest disciple of the Jade Lake sect disappeared. At that time, it was guessed that the eldest disciple was taken away by the great devil. Guopai played with the round ball handed over by Qiu Daoyuan. After a while, he showed a surprised expression. It was a good thing, absolutely a good thing. Holding this bead, he could faintly see the state of the two people and Yu's original body. Even the pillar with the essence blood of the great Magi couldn't escape the mark of this bead. Hey kid, this thing is not bad. Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. You accepted this gift for our first meeting. Is it for our rebirth? Little Yu, you have to set up a table for us to drink. Guopai nodded with a smile. It was already 6 o'clock in the evening. Bugyaku was about to get off work. They had been busy for so long. Guopai should reward them. Of course, he should express his gratitude for accepting the treasures of the two human experts. Seniors, have a taste. This meat is absolutely delicious. To tell you the truth, this is the meat of the ancient demonic tiger. Guotongyuan whispered in Qiu Daoyuan's ear. However, the two people were not interested in the delicious food on the table at all. After all, there was still a gap between Guotongyuan and Qiu Daoyuan. Back when the great demon was still in power, they were already tired of eating the meat of the ancient devil tiger. They might think that it was a good thing, but for Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin, it was simply nauseating. Although they hadn't eaten anything for tens of thousands of years, just like Qiu Daoyuan said, their mouths were very picky. Guopai served the last plate of delicious food. Seeing that Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin didn't touch their chopsticks, he immediately knew what they meant. It seemed that the two people were not interested in the meat. Guopai straightforwardly put a few dishes in front of the two people and walked over with a wine gourd in his hand. "Honey, Grandpa has sent the set of cups you put in Grandpa's place. I can use it today." After saying that, Yuer magically put a few cups in front of Guopai. Guopai took out 3 cups and directly filled them with wine. Then, he made an inviting gesture. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin couldn't bear it anymore. From the moment the wine came, they were completely fascinated by the fragrance of the wine. The two people first ate a mouthful of the side dishes and then drank it all. The two of them widened their eyes. Scoundrel Gua had a smirk on his face. The others could never have imagined that these two strange old men who came out of nowhere would be so excited after drinking a glass of white wine instead of eating the delicious food in front of them. Chapter 337. Guopai didn't say anything. He shook the gourd and filled their cups again. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin looked at each other and drank the wine again. This time, they closed their eyes tightly and didn't open them for a long time. The moment they opened their eyes, Guopai had already filled their 3rd cup. "Seniors, isn't this Junior's wine passable? This 3rd cup can't be drunk directly. Take your time to savor it," Guopai said with a smile. The two of them were like children as they hurriedly nodded. "Boss, did you give the 2 seniors wine or bewitching potion? Why are they so distracted? If you say that they are demon slayers who ran amok back then, I won't believe it even if you beat me to death," Guotongyuan said softly. "Senior brother, why don't you give me 3 cups of wine to try? It's different from the wine I gave you. Only they can drink this wine. If you drink it, you might fall into a deep sleep for 300 years, Guopai said with a smile. This time, he didn't say anything. He didn't dare to taste the wine he gave Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin in the human world. That was the head of the wine brewed in the heavenly court back then. Even Tai Bai Jinxing dared to scold the Jade Emperor after drinking that wine back then. "Little bad, according to age, we are a few years older than you. Since you saved us, the 2 of us will follow you in the future. You should have noticed that the situation in the human world isn't good now. I think we can help you a little," Li Shixin said with a smile. Guopai nodded gently. "You have to stay. Not to mention other things, Yuer's 2 invisibility talismans are good stuff. Emperor Jia, after dinner, bring the 2 seniors to the Gu family. Ask Brother Gu Yun to arrange a comfortable place to stay. Tomorrow, bring the 2 seniors around the imperial capital. Go to the accountant and ask for a card. The 2 seniors can buy whatever they want. What you can learn from them will depend on your luck," Guopai said with a smile. Chen Jiadi looked at the 2 weirdly dressed old men in disbelief. Since Guopai said so, then tomorrow would be a holiday for him. Everyone had a very comfortable dinner. Of course, the 2 seniors were no exception. A few dishes from the barbecue stall outside made the 2 of them almost eat their plates. The Bugyaku students couldn't help but be surprised. The next morning, early in the morning, Guopai changed his clothes. It had been a long time since he went to the Xianyuan family. He didn't know how the 3rd prince's situation was. He had to go and take a look, or Xianyuan Tingfei would scold him again. Of course, there was a more important matter. He had to go and take a look. Otherwise, Xianyuan Ting say he wasn't honest. Of course he had to take a look. Chen Jiadi also woke up early in the morning. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin naturally didn't sleep for the whole night. The new environment made them feel a little uncomfortable. Thinking about it, the spiritual energy in the human world was very rich in the past. With the current spiritual energy, even if they set up a spirit gathering array, the amount of spiritual energy absorbed in a night was less than 1/10,000th of what it was in the past. Grandpa Chio, Grandpali, let's go. Today, I will bring you to the imperial capital to have fun. If you are satisfied, just like what boss said, you can give me something useful, Chinjiati said with a smile. Since Guo Pai said that the two seniors had something good, then they definitely had something. Kid, that's easy. But if we go out directly on the sword, won't it be too conspicuous? Chiu Daoyuan said softly just as they walked out of Bugyaku's gate. Ahem, Grandpa is really humorous. Let's take a car. Don't worry, I have a certificate, Chen Jiati said with a smile. In order to make it convenient for the students in Bugyaku to travel and go out for consultations, they bought several domestic cars with good performance. Chen Jiati took the key and opened a Hongqi car. He gestured for the two old men to come in. Chiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin looked at each other and sat in the car. In the past, they dared to go through mountains of knives and seas of fire. Why would they be afraid of this iron guy? Grandpa Chiu, Grandpa Li, don't be nervous. My driving is different from boss. I am much more stable than him. After saying that, Chen Jiati stepped on the accelerator and the car flew out of the parking lot. The two old men in the car were really shocked. This iron guy could actually run. Although the speed was not fast, it still scared the two of them. Then, the scenery on both sides of the road made the two old men widen their eyes. Everything they saw was novel. They pointed at the speeding car and couldn't help but shake their heads at the tall buildings on both sides. They couldn't believe that there were people in such things. Chen Jiati naturally saw all these things. Could it be that boss found these two old men from ancient times? Chen Jiati didn't know. This time, he guessed right. It was not ancient times but ancient times. Grandpa, you can choose whatever you want. I will get a mobile phone for each of you first. If it was in the past, I would get you an Apple. But now, we don't use the old American things. We will use our own. It is better than theirs. After saying that, Chen Jiati got a domestic phone for each of the two old men. He directly got a SIM card and told them how to use it. Then, he directly called Guo Pai. The two old men were stunned again. What was this thing? It could actually transmit sound. Chen Jiati naturally didn't know what the two old men were thinking. He then took them to the street where clothes were sold. After explaining to the two old men for a long time, he finally got them a Chong Sam. It matched the two old men's temperament. It was quite fitting. The three of them shopped until noon. Chen Jiati directly took the two old men to a clubhouse of the Xianyuan family. He called Xianyuan Tengfei in advance. The next program made the two old men widen their eyes. The food was really not bad. Xianyuan Tengfei heard that the two old men were relatively old-fashioned, so he directly asked the chef to prepare some decent food. However, the bikini show made the two old men almost tear Chen Jiati alive. Little Chen, what do you mean? What is your relationship with that pervert? Do you want to use these things to destroy our cultivation? Li Shixin pulled Chen Jiati outside and asked loudly. Chen Jiati didn't know what to do. In the end, he had no choice but to call Guo Pai. On the other side of the phone, Guo Pai and Yu almost laughed out loud. This Chen Jiati was really daring. He actually took two masters of the human race to see bikinis. If people who knew Chiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin knew about this, they would be even more amused. Master Chiu, Master Li, are you full? Let's go. I will take you to another place. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. You can rest assured that there won't be any more of those things. Chen Jiati said in a low voice. He invited the two old men to get in the car and drove to the antique street. Master Chiu, this is a competition of eyesight. If we can buy the old objects, then we will be rich. Chen Jiati whispered. There are not many things with spiritual qi on this street. If you want, little Chun, I can pick them out for you. As he said this, Li Shixin followed the spiritual qi. In just half an hour, Li Shixin picked out 8 objects of different sizes for Chen Jiadi. The total cost was no more than 30,000 yuan. Master Li, are you sure this is an old object? Chen Jiadi took out a brick-like object and asked Li Shixin. Li Shixin didn't say anything. He opened the brick with his spiritual qi, and a black inkstone appeared in front of Chen Jiadi. Coincidentally, someone passed by. Although he didn't see Li Shixin opening the brick, the inkstone attracted the attention of the onlookers. Little you, this inkstone is worth 1 million yuan. I want it. Let's go to the bank and transfer the money. An old man in his 70s or 80s said to Chen Jiadi. Chen Jiadi looked at the other things he bought and pulled the 2 old men into the car. Then, he pulled the 2 old men to an antique appraisal shop. Authentic. All 8 objects were authentic. If they were to be auctioned, they could be sold for at least 10 million yuan. Chen Jiadi couldn't help but grab Li Shixin's big hand. Master Li, how did you do it? How did I do it? Don't look at those bikinis. You can do it too. Chapter 338. Ahem, Master Li, it's a misunderstanding. It's really a misunderstanding. I didn't expect there to be such a program there. Boss said it was fun, so I brought you there. It's really a misunderstanding. No matter how Chen Jiadi explained, Li Shixin and Qiu Daoyuan didn't give a damn. Chen Jiadi was completely speechless. Old Qiu, take a look at how this thing works. Let's buy it and study it. It was even more interesting in the afternoon. Think about it, the 2 demon slayers from ancient times were still curious about everything after tens of thousands of years. At first, they could still fit everything in their small car. Later, the 2 old men had to carry almost a few hundred kilograms of things. Chen Jiadi couldn't stand it anymore, so he rented a car from a car rental company and put everything in the car. From small things like shavers and electric fans to big things like air conditioners and washing machines, everything that they couldn't understand was thrown into the car. Chen Jiadi was completely confused by the 2 old men. Masters, let's go back. It's almost time. At 6:00 in the evening, Chen Jiadi couldn't help but whisper to the 2 old men who had been looking at the elevator for a while. Little Chen, where does this teleportation array lead to? Exquisite, it's really exquisite. There's no aura of ability at all. The person who went up just now disappeared in a short while, and then a new person will be sent back from another place. Exquisite. Qiu Daoyuan couldn't help but sigh. Chen Jiadi squatted on the ground and let the 2 old men take the elevator from the first floor to the top floor. Only then did he stop. The 2 old men nodded with slightly red faces. The 3 of them drove back to Bugyaku. Ching, stop looking. I'm Chen Jiadi. Ask the Gu family to send a few people to unload the car and bring the things to Master Li and Master Qiu. Chen Jiadi said to Song Qing, who walked in front of him while carrying a big box filled with all kinds of gadget. Brother Chen, wait. Why did you buy these things? Don't we all have them? Song Qing couldn't help but ask when she saw the truck full of suits behind them. Ching, get someone to unload the car first. I'll explain to you later. Where's boss? I want to find boss. As he spoke, Chen Jiadi placed the large box on the ground and walked towards Bugyaku. The 2 old men leisurely watched as the Gu family moved the things they had bought into their courtyard. Old Li, be careful. This is the electricity they were talking about, Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Following which, the entire courtyard was short-circuited. The Gu family's electrician ran into the courtyard again to fix the electricity. On the 4th short-circuited, Li Shixin fixed the electricity himself. The Gu family's electricians widened their eyes. This guy was really fierce. He touched the electric wire with his wet hands. Emperor Jia, how's your harvest today? I heard you talking in the courtyard just now. The two seniors must have bought a lot of things. Guo Pai said with a smile. Boss, a lot. That's more than a lot. You can go and take a look later. If the two seniors want to open a grocery store, I think it's enough. Chen Jiati couldn't help but say, Boss, where did you find these two seniors? Weirdos, definitely weirdos. But there's one thing. Elder Li's eyes are really sharp. In half an hour, he got 10 million worth of antiques from the antique street. He's really amazing. Cough, cough, cough. Of course. If Elderly wants, he can pick out all the antiques from the antique street for you. Guo Pai coughed and said, But you're not bad. You actually brought the two seniors to the club. Haha, it's really hard to imagine their expressions. Ha 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 ha. During dinner, the two old men came out of the Gu family. The group of people was stunned. On such a hot day, the two of them came out of the house wearing Chinese tunic suit. There was no sweat on their foreheads at all. However, Chiu Deyuan's beard was much shorter, and there was a slight burnt smell. Cough, cough. Two seniors, your clothes are really fashionable. But don't you feel hot? Guo Pai said with a smile. The people around him tried hard not to laugh. Not hot, not hot. Today we bought a magic weapon from the antique street. There are 2 cooling arrays on it. Let us transfer the arrays to the clothes. You can touch it. It's a little cold. Chiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Guotong Yuan and several Wu Xiu's eyes widened. A magic weapon was wasted by them just like that. The two old men were definitely weirdos. A few students who weren't from the medical hall couldn't help but touch the clothes of the two seniors. Needless to say, it was really a bit cold, which made the few students widen their eyes. These two masters were really experts among experts. Guo Pao's face was full of black lines. He naturally knew what kind of magic tool that was. This father had been in the human world for almost a year, but he hadn't been able to get a decent magic tool. You guys actually picked it up and used it like this. Dinner was very pleasant. Guo Pai was too lazy to cook. He directly asked the hotel next to him to send 3 tables of delicious food. The two old men ate very comfortably. The key was the wine. Little Bad, come here. After dinner, Gu Yun came to Bugyaku and called Guo Pai to the side. Can you tell the two seniors not to make such a big noise at night like in the afternoon? There are several children at home. I'm afraid they are frightened. Little Gu, we know about this matter. In a while, we will go and see the frightened children. We will not make trouble at night. You can rest assured. At a distance of more than 30 meters, Gu Yun's voice was very small. However, Chiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin heard it clearly. Gu Yun waved his hand embarrassedly. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Guo Pai played chess for the two old men in Bugyaku. Finally, he met 2 people in the world who could be on par with him. The 2 old men played a game each and were very happy. Master, your little wife came to find you. A new girl whispered to Guo Pao. Guo Pao couldn't help but put the chess piece in the wrong place. Li Shixin's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast enough to win the game. My little wife? I don't have a little wife. Where is she? Guo Pai looked at the girl named Su Weishue and asked. Big bad guy, I haven't seen you for a few days. Don't you recognize me? The little girl standing at the door was little Ling Mo. The 2 old men looked at little Ling Mo. This little girl was not simple. There was an indescribable aura on her body. Old man, what are you looking at? Although this girl can eat anyone from 3 years old to 80 years old, you can't look at a girl like this. Little Ling Mo's words made Li Shixin and Chiu Deyuan's old faces turn red. Guo Pai couldn't help but laugh. Little Ling Mo, I remember that you haven't had a holiday yet. Why are you back? Did you do something wrong? Old man Li Xuanyu kicked you out. I'll give him a call. He has to give me some face. Haha. Guo Pai asked with a smile. I'm different from you. Little Ling Mo pouted and said, I'm here to tell you that in a week, you have to accompany me to the United States. Or let Sister Yuer accompany me. The special ability martial arts competition started in advance. Grandpa asked me to come and find you. Guopai thought about it. In 5 days, he would be married to Lin Shuang. In a week, he could go to the United States. Now that there were 2 masters at home, he didn't have to worry about anything. Chapter 339. Little Ling Mo did not return to the Nangong family. The next day, Guopai directly brought Lin Shuang from the Xianyuan family to the Gu family. After all, the wedding was to be held at the Gu family. 3 days later, the girls all rushed over from Wu Castle. Bugyaku also became lively. Dad, tomorrow is Lin Shuang's wedding. Guopai did not give us an invitation. Are we going or not? Lin Xingyu asked softly. Although the Lin family's business was back on track again, it was still far behind the other families. The lack of an invitation is because of you and your good son. Guopai said that if we go to Shuang Er's wedding, we can just find a place to sit and watch. As for her family, Guopai will arrange it himself. Lin Sanyuan shook his head helplessly. Looking at his disappointing son, he had the urge to beat him up. Dad, you can't blame me for this. Who knew that Lin Shuang could climb up to such a high branch? Lin Xingyu said softly. Lin Shuang's father, Lin Xingyun, had a look of disdain. So what if his daughter climbed up to such a high branch? If you have the ability, then go and do it too. Look at your family's ugly melons and broken date. Someone needs to want them too. Prepare a generous gift. It doesn't matter if we're her family or not, you must prepare the gift well tomorrow. And you, Lin Xingyu, you'd better keep your stinky brats in check. If they dare to cause any trouble tomorrow, just you wait. Lin Sanyuan said fiercely as he walked into the house. Around 8 p.m., Lin Xingyun received a call from Lin Shuang. He was ecstatic. Lin Shuang had convinced Guopai. After all, the Lin family was her family. If they did not attend the wedding tomorrow, the Lin family would be finished. Lin Xingyun quickly ran into Lin Sunyuan's house. Then, the Lin family was busy again. Boss, tomorrow is Guopai's wedding. Should we give him a red packet? Li Dafu called Hua Xia No. 1 and asked softly. The other party was silent for a while and replied with a sentence that could make the whole Hua Xia tremble. I'll go there directly tomorrow. You can ask Guopai if they lack a witness. If they lack one, I think I can be their witness. After saying that, No. 1 hung up the phone. Li Dafu was completely stunned. To be the witness of Guo Shuai's marriage and to pay for it? Li Dafu slapped himself hard. This really wasn't a dream. Li Dafu did not know that Guopai gave him a pill. No. 1 ate it out of curiosity. And that feeling. He was ecstatic. All the hidden injuries he left from his work in the past were completely healed. He could feel that his body was much younger. He could feel that his body was a body's bodies. He completely understand. Why Guopai? Guo medicines. He understand. Why? Witness? Wedding witness? If he's free, then he can come. He can be the witness together with Master Yufeng. Guopai said with a smile when he received Li Dafu's call. But if Li Dafu knew what he was thinking, he would definitely open his eyes wide. This time, I'll let No. 1 chief be the witness for my wedding with Shuang Er. Who will the other people look for? What if the other girls get jealous? I have to tell No. 1 that I'll be his witness in the future. Guopai thought in his heart. That night, Bugyaku and the Gu family began to bustle. Because of Guopai's wedding, the people of Baolong Mountain held a martial arts competition in advance. More than 300 people came to attend Guopai's wedding. Yuntai City's Mu family and Sun family also rushed over that day. Of course, most people came from Wu Castle. Guopai's former class directly asked for leave to attend the wedding of Guopai and Lin Shuang. Guopai happily arranged accommodation for everyone. It was not until 2 o'clock the next day that he slowly finished his work. Yu Er's wife, why are you unhappy? Are you jealous? Guopai returned to the house. Lin Shuang was already asleep because she was pregnant. However, Yu Er was sitting cross-legged. Obviously, she was not asleep. What's the use of being jealous? You big bad guy. If I get jealous every time you get married, I'll become a big vinegar jar. Yu Er opened her eyes and said softly, anyway, I don't care. I don't care about the wedding of the mortal world. Our wedding will be held in the heavenly court. When the time comes, I want you to find the Jade Emperor to be our witness. I want all the immortals of the 3 realms to come. Humph. Guopai heard Yu Er's words and suddenly felt a headache. Women were really scary when they compared themselves. However, he did not know when he would return to the heavenly realm. When the time comes, he really could not let these 2 seniors of the human race come forward. Just like what Yu Er said, Kong Xian owed Elder Qiu and Elder Li a favor. The matter of finding the Jade Emperor would be settled by Kong Xian. Starting from 4 in the morning, firecrackers started to sound in the imperial capital. Bugyaku was the first to do so, followed by the Gu clan. Then, a few big clans in the imperial capital followed suit. In the end, those who did not know what was going on also followed suit. For a moment, the imperial capital was incomparably lively. Teacher Lin Shuang, how is it? Your husband is not bad, right? Guopai hugged Lin Shuang, who had just woken up, and said softly, what kind of person are you? My life has been ruined by you. Lin Shuang said with a smile, Wu Castle's 4 pests, number 1 in the literary battle. Dojo Master Bugyaku, how many more surprises can you bring me? You'll know today. Let me tell you a little secret. Today's witness will definitely surprise you. Guopai said with a smile. Great Master Yufeng is really willing to come. That's great. Lin Shuang knew that Guopai wanted Great Master Yufeng to be the witness from the start. She did not expect Great Master Yufeng to really agree. You'll know when the time comes. You'll probably be a little tired today. Take this pill. Don't affect the baby. Guopai handed a pink pill to Lin Shuang. Naturally, Lin Shuang did not suspect anything and directly took it. When it came to makeup, Guopai did not look for anyone else. How could their standards be compared to Yu Er? When Yu Er brought Lin Shuang out of the room, everyone in the room was stunned. Lin Shuang was already very beautiful. After being dressed up by Yu Er, she appeared in front of everyone like a celestial being. This immediately caused waves of praise. Teacher Lin, you're really too beautiful. Little sister Yu Er, I don't care. You have to do it for me. A few girls surrounded Yu Er and said. Yu Er did not say much and directly brought the girls into the room. After half an hour, the girls appeared in front of everyone like fairies descending to the mortal world. Yu Er, you should open that beauty salon in the capital. You'll definitely earn a lot of money. There were no outsiders in the room. Qiu Daoyuan smiled and said. The few old men nodded. Sigh, capable people have more work. An outstanding man like me has to support so many women. Guopai sighed and said. The girls all stretched their hands over. Guopai's tender waist turned a few times. Guopai was in so much pain that he almost shouted out. At 7 a.m. in the morning, Bugyaku opened for business as usual. However, many people with number plates knew that today was the wedding of the owner of Bugyaku. If there were no urgent matters, they did not come to spoil the atmosphere. Today was the worst day of business since Bugyaku opened. The group of students in Bugyaku were overjoyed. Good boy, Qiankuan, Su Tu, quickly come and take a look. This is too scary. 2 in the morning. In the afternoon, 9 Fingers has something to do and may have to go out. 3rd in the evening. Thank you for your support. 9 Fingers thanks you. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.